Good morning. Happy Sunday. It's Super Bowl Sunday. We're kicking off Super Bowl LIX, as Gronk would say it. And we've got a lot in store. We have to review the games of 2 weeks ago because we took last week off. There were two huge championship games bringing us to the contenders in today's Super Bowl. Chiefs versus the Eagles. And the unfortunate reality to a game like this is, well, no one's excited for it.
Find more interesting than an Eagles-Chiefs Super Bowl. Number 1, the dimensions of a box of Lucky Charms. Number 2, the history of the number 2 pencil. Number 3, the minutes from an HOA meeting in Sacramento, California. Number 4, listening to my coworker describe their dream in detail. And number 5, the average temperature over the last 50 years in southeastern Peru.
You know, I got to say, Christian McCaffrey had it best on, I think this is everyone's opinion.
You know, I hope both teams lose. To me, it doesn't matter.
That was before the last Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So I'm sure his opinion
No, that is
hasn't
literally
changed.
this week. That was, dude, look at the graphic under it.
You know, I hope both teams lose. To me, it doesn't matter.
That's the last one when they played 2 years ago.
Well, no, they're talking about this last week because this is the same. They had this in tandem with Jamar Chase saying the exact same thing. They interviewed him this year, going at the same exact time. They go like same day. They go, yeah. So Christian McCaffrey said nobody wants to see either team win. What are your thoughts? And even Jamar Chase was like, I agree. I agree with Christian. No one should win.
I don't even want both teams to have fun.
Yeah, well, you know what? You know what's funny? The machine will not let you have that opinion. So guess what? Nate Burleson, he's got a message for you.
The fan bases out there, if you're not a Chiefs fan, that's okay. But resist the urge to fall for the narrative that we're tired of seeing them win, that we might be fatigued of watching KC go to the Super Bowl over and over again. You are witnessing greatness, and just be happy that you are alive to be there to see it.
I mean, like, yeah, I get his point, but I want them to lose. So I want greatness to lose.
Well, guess what? You're supposed to be thankful, damn it. Thankful, damn it, as the rest of the league is like this.
You can't keep getting away with it.
I love the internet so much.
You can't keep getting away with it.
I love the internet.
I
dude.
loved it the most because there is a Browns hat in there.
Yeah.
Because they did it to us, damn it.
And yeah, I mean, it is funny, and yeah, we are witnessing greatness, but it was like we all wanted Tom to lose. It wasn't until Tom won like his 5th where I was like, all right, let's see how many more he could get. Maybe.
Are we the problem?
Oh, I am so the problem. Look, all right, since I'm starting off this message, Super Bowl Sunday, we will never be here.
Yeah.
And it is your fault, Jimmy Haslam. We're sick of it, and we are the problem. We are definitively the problem. We're getting it out of the way. Look at my hoodie saying we're the problem, that we're going to make it. And look at this son of a bitch's shirt.
Let him go.
We are the problem.
Jimmy Haslam, you have turned me into a Bernie Sanders. I sit here and go, the billionaires, we all need to revolt, take that crown from the king. We need a Packer situation. The sad part is I don't think we're coordinated enough or
it's not allowed anymore either.
What?
Yeah, the NFL made sure that would never happen again and changed, I think, their laws or ownership rules. So, like, a city or organization can't own it like that.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
You gotta have a lizard person representing your team from here on out. They get to pass their grandfathered in, no lizards. But everybody else, you need to have at least one lizard at the helm.
Dude, Taylor Swift is going to win her 2nd Super Bowl today, and we haven't even touched the game our whole life. Like, you do realize, and she's from Philadelphia, so she almost wins.
It's true. That's the most painful aspect. So we have a lot to unpack for today's review.
Real quick, though.
Yeah, go ahead.
Speaking of Taylor Swift, my mom is waiting to see, like, if the Chiefs win, Is Kelsey going to propose to Taylor Swift?
I've thought that multiple times this week.
Well, the whole gimmick of a marketing scheme is that it never really crystallizes.
Here's the thing.
Right? Like Selena in The Weeknd, it's like it goes so far to the line until it's like, all right, we both maximize, we squeeze the most juice out of this orange. Deuces.
Speaking of that, though, do you think that would be good or bad for the NFL if they won and he proposed?
Fantastic.
Bad.
I'm with Doug. I think it's bad. And here's the reason. I think for viewers and ratings, it'd be great. But for the sport of football, I don't think that'd be a good look.
Why?
You're taking away, for instance, if they win today, that's their third Super Bowl. They're the first team to ever do that. And that will be immediately overshadowed with the star tight end proposes to his longtime girlfriend now, who is the most famous woman in the world. What do you think is going to get talked about more? That or this dynasty three-peat that should be recognized? It should be appreciated by the sport. So the players that win it, they won't care as much because they won the Super Bowl. They did it. What do you think is going to get talked about more in the news the next week? Chiefs winning, but Travis proposed to Taylor and she said yes.
No, you nailed it. That's why I
don't view it good for the NFL.
My comment back to you is going to be, there's been people that have proposed at the Super Bowl before.
Correct.
This isn't like a groundbreaking thing. It would just bring more attention. But no, I totally overlooked. It would take all the attention.
Yes.
Especially from if Nate Burleson and the rest of ESPN and sports media are going to tell me I need to swallow the pill and muster up some excitement because this is history. Yeah. Legendary. And that legend will just be buried by a pop star.
And that's the thing. It's like, if they are going to do this, I'm not going to take it away from them. I want to, as a football fan, be like, man, a team won 3 in a row. They've never done that. To then immediately follow that sentence and be like, yeah, Travis proposed to Taylor. And people hardly talked about that.
And can we be real? Especially if we're going to have the commentary about the impact on the sport itself. I hate to say it because he's got so many good podcasts and he's such a Cleveland guy and he's like so freaking popular, but he's not as freaking hot as he used to be. Like, dude, you had a cold year. You had a very cold year. And so it's like, now who's stealing the show? Not Patrick Mahomes, not the guy who's won the Super Bowl, but like the background guy. And I really mean the background guy. I'm not one to really go out of order here, but like we're going to right now, let's take this opportunity to transition. Doug brought up something. No, right. But let's transition to the Bills game. And so reviewing the Bills game, there's a lot of interesting situations. And before we even start breaking those down, one of the ones that I have highlighted here is how Travis Kelce has an astonishing ability to taunt the other team into a penalty, even on a play where he didn't even do shit. So look at this. I love that cap, a little sock on a helmet. Now look at Travis come out of nowhere. And now he comes to protect his player because, again, Travis wasn't even in the play. He just came out of nowhere to taunt, and there's the penalty. Now, did he come in a little hot? Yeah, probably. Control yourself, because this comes back to something I think you and I will circle a lot today, which is the Chiefs don't get the penalties. So you need to have the self-control to transcend.
Yeah. This is, for me personally, Buffalo, you've played this team how many times in the playoffs? Love or hate the refs, Kansas City, they have found a way to know how to utilize the gray area that the refs have.
Yeah.
You played into the provoke. He does this. Travis. I can't even be mad at Travis right there. That's Travis being Travis.
That's playing the game.
That's playing the game. That's, hey, I'm going up for a basket, but if I lean in this way, I get also and one. That's all that was. Right there, that's all that was. So I look at Buffalo fans, I love you. Stop blaming the refs. Josh isn't as good. He is an MVP in every aspect up until that game. I'm revoking his and Lamar's. They're both in tandem. I'm revoking their Super Bowl caliber quarterback until you actually play in a Super Bowl. Because how many more years am I going to look at them and be like, oh, you're Super Bowl caliber quarterback who's never played for one?
Yeah.
Like, how many more years do I have to play that facade? And then for 8-9 months, I got to listen to Buffalo complain, argue, whinge, whine about, oh, it's just the refs and our defense and our coaching. And it's never Josh's fault. And I don't know about you, but I could sum up that game very easily. Look at the first drive for both two teams. Pat, poised, calm. It's almost like he doesn't understand the gravity of you're playing for the game to get into your third Super Bowl. There's no pressure. And this is a guy who should have all the pressure. There's no pressure. Josh looked like the pressure of it all hit him first drive. Almost for 2 picks on his first 2 throws. I'm sorry. I love Josh. We all love Josh. I'm glad he won MVP. But like, your career accolades outside of the MVP is that of Phillip Rivers at this point. And I'm done with the pandering to, oh, Josh is great. He is. He's great. He's the second best quarterback in the AFC. Unless your name is Patrick Mahomes, you don't play for that game. You don't get that opportunity. Fair. And I'm tired of doing this faux, because we know we're in Cleveland. We have a lot more Buffalo than Kansas City people. We went to a Bills backers bar. That's how badly you wanted your guy to finally get his dub over him. And then after the game, the only person who took the accountability for the loss was Josh. Yeah. He simply said it. To be the champ, you got to beat the champ. I could respect Josh for handling that loss, but then you have the Bills fans go, oh, the refs screwed us. Refs all this, all that shit. There were 5 fumbles in that football game. You recovered every single one. Kansas City didn't recover a single fumble, and you only lost by 3. You opted to kick the field goal instead of going for it on 4th down. Maybe you score a touchdown. That's 4 more points. Only lost by 3.
Missed 2-point conversion.
Missed a 2-point conversion. So there were 2 ref things that got involved. The catch, non-catch that we were probably going to get into, and you probably have a video of it as well, and the spot of the ball thing. Right. But you get the spot on the ball thing. You have Josh Allen, and the only thing you can do is run the tush push, and you barely worked the first time. Now you're going to run it a second time 3 plays later. I'm sorry, but like, coaching or not, you have Josh Allen. That's all he's capable of doing on 4th and 1 is a tush push. He can't do something else. You get Pat Mahomes that ball, the whole playbook's open. I could do anything with this football. I'm done with the pandering for Josh Allen. Make this Super Bowl, and I will consider you a Super Bowl caliber quarterback.
I could agree with that position. Now, before we totally dismantle the Bills argument, I'd like to present it.
Oh,
so firstly, here is the big catch that Will was talking about. This is Xavier Worthy ruled a catch.
Possession of that. So right there.
So hold on, who has control of it? And it definitely hit the ground. And I have a hard time even saying it's Xavier's ball. Bishop's got 2 arms on it.
You want to know what's funny? When we were watching the game at the Backers
Hits
bar,
the ground.
This was one of the few plays I was in the bathroom for, and I could hear everybody outside like groaning and stuff, and I was like, what happened? So I got to ask you two, was the call on the field a catch, and then they couldn't overturn it, or were they like, oh, it was not a catch?
Yeah, catch.
They confirmed, okay. So they confirmed it a catch on the field, and then they went to the replay, and they're like, well, we can't overturn it.
Right.
Okay.
Which I have a hard time.
No, I if anything, I would say it's got to be at least at minimum an incomplete pass.
It's an incomplete pass.
Yeah.
And I really have a hard time saying Xavier Worthy, he has control of it, if anyone.
Correct.
So, okay.
I agree.
Little bit of a sticky wicket. And then I just look at this one. This is one that isn't talked about much at all, but a clear delay a game. So look at it again. Watch the play clock still have 2 seconds left while the countdown for the play clock. So 2:01. You had about 2 seconds there where he's walking off the field in anticipation for the 2-minute warning.
Apparently, he can't do simple math.
I mean, anybody else gets nabbed by those, but Patrick Mahomes goes and cusses out Josh Allen when they count him for semantics like this, so he gets away with it. And then here was Josh Allen straight up.
So here's going to be the penalty.
He was pointing it.
I think he was saying that's a hold.
Yep.
He's straight up pointing it out, and they had commentary on it with Tony Romo and everyone. That he's straight up pointing out the penalty. Here's a hold. Hey. First off, Josh, you don't have time to worry about that, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you already know. We know we've signed up today to play the team that's going to have calls like that not called. What are you doing crippling the play further, wasting your time concerned with that?
And again, that's my thing with Josh. Like, I agree. It's a hold. It's a hold. I'm not going to deny the hold, but it's like, Josh, man, like, come on. Like, take off running. Then maybe they'll see it and call it. Or throw, if anything, throw the ball.
Throw the ball.
Throw the ball at him.
Yeah, get the attention.
You know, that like pointing.
Put it on camera.
How do I not know he's pointing and saying, go out, go out? No, but he's pointing at the hold. It's like, sure, he could have. And I agree, he probably was. Throw the ball. That's what gets the penalty call. Again, it's how I've always been on Josh. And I've told you off camera, there's Pat, Josh, and Lamar. Lamar makes the most mistakes. He tries to be Superman 2 bunch. Josh does it the second most, and it bites him in the ass. Pat never tries to be Superman, and he always looks like Superman. Like it always seems effortless. Like he's not trying to be Superman. He just improvises, and then something opens. Somebody loses track of Kelsey, and he's in the middle of the field 15, 20. You don't see Josh doing that.
No.
Like, you just don't. And when they play, it always feels like the pressure's all on Josh. Like, he knows, like, because you know what their thought process is. We beat them. We're Super Bowl champs. Like, truthfully, if Buffalo was playing Philly today, I would put so much money on Philly. I would put way money on Philly. I think the run defense the Bills have will get ran over. I think, and I've talked to Bills fans, and they've all been like, I don't know if we beat Philly. But like Kansas City, yes. Yeah, I like Philly.
But we almost beat Philly. The Browns.
Yes, but like Philly is like Kansas City. When they're in close games, they usually make one or two more plays than the other team. Whereas Josh will kind of flub it. You know, like right there. Like, you're the Bills. You had a great year. You're the MVP. Your last offensive play, within 2 seconds, you got thrown into last second Hail Mary, and you still had time on the clock. That's what they resorted you to. And I'm supposed to sit here year in, year out, and we all want Bills to win. So we're all Bills Mafia in spirit when you guys play the Chiefs. But as the unbiased fan who could watch, I could sit back and be like, yeah, sure, the refs, but who played the better game, him or Pat? Pat. How many more years do I have to say that? And it's like, but it's never Josh's fault. Like, at some point, like, we always said, hey, Brady or Peyton. It was always Brady because, well, Brady would get the better of you. And truthfully, I think Peyton was a better quarterback in terms of like standard, like guy who throws the ball, guy who reads defenses, guy who does all the audibles, stuff like that. Like, it's just, Tom just had a knack. He had a knack for that competitive aspect, and you could see it in Pat.
Well, how about this? I've got one lined up here. So Tom Brady was in an interview, and he was talking about the level of pressure.
Yeah.
On this game.
I saw this too.
But also, like, because of the level of pressure, the level of work it takes to meet that pressure and dominate in the game.
Super Bowl I was a part of. I was 2 weeks of watching film. Friday night, I was just going through the film. I knew Kansas City's defense better than they knew themselves. I knew their body movements, the way their linebackers moved, the way their safeties moved. Tyrann Mathieu, Nick Sorensen, Shavarius Ward. I knew everything they were doing. I got out there on the field.
Even knows the name still.
As I was walking line of scrimmage, I said, okay, they're blitzing. And then I was dealing with it right away. I walked up, I said, okay, they're going to bail to cover 2. Ball snap, cover 2. And I knew I had the answers to the test. That's where I was great. That's where my magic superpower was. It wasn't how fast I could run. It was how fast I could diagnose what they were doing. What's the special quality? What's the internet speed of me as a quarterback? Fast as I was Starlink before Starlink. You know, now other guys, if it's a slow processing speed, well, he's going to get you. And the reality is I could figure out what they were doing before they did it, because that's how I learned to play the game. And that's how I believe most quarterbacks should play the game. Unfortunately, as we've talked about, most quarterbacks aren't playing the game like that anymore. They're fast when they get out of the pocket, when they have to make decisions. But I didn't snap the ball unless I knew what they were doing. And if my guys were going to be open. The one benefit you have as a quarterback, before you snap the ball, you know where everybody on your team is running. If you have 5 eligibles out in the route, I know where all 5 are going. If I look at the defense and I say, none of my guys are going to be open based on this coverage. We didn't design the play for this coverage. I don't need to snap the ball. I can run something different. I can check to a run. I can check to a screen. I can signal a receiver and change a route. And then I would just change the route to a route that I thought would be open. I'd catch the ball, I'd throw it, and it'd be a 15-yard gain. Everyone would be like, it looks so easy. And I'm like, well, yeah, it's easy because you're not paying attention to the right thing. Right. What's going on in here is what my superpower was. That was Peyton Manning's superpower. That was Drew Brees' superpower. Those were the guys that I tried to be like. That's what we did a great job of. So that part of the game is what I am really fascinated by. And when I see players play like that, those are the guys that I think have the most upside.
And like you said, that eliteness looks effortless.
Yeah, I've just a side note before we delve into really what he said. I absolutely love Tom retired, just talking football. Show up on these shows, and just
I've got another clip that we'll get to, but like his commentary.
Yeah.
Like, first off, we did talk about Tony Romo, and the Tony Romo of today is annoying as shit, and I could do without him. But
here's a guy.
But when we talk about Tony Romo, like the first season, or at least the first half of his first season.
Right.
He was predicting plays before they happened. This guy's ability to read the play, know the game scheme. I mean, it was brilliant. And they clearly nerfed that because they were like, dude, stop calling what the hell's about to happen. Like that so
I'm sure there was like gambling reasons involved.
I
I'm sure
there was a lot of
what's going to happen this play and immediately says something $5 on it.
Well, especially if maybe there is some overreach intervention.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, stop screwing up our ability to.
Yeah, like I could totally see that being a reason. And then that was the day Tony learned.
So this is like Tom meets that like level of deep insight without revealing behind the veil for the mechanism.
Yeah.
So like he's the perfect announcer. I love when your game is lucky enough to be a high profile competition enough to have him there, and it does enhance it. And getting back to like what he was saying though, looking at someone like Patrick Mahomes, that is someone who did not frolic through Greece on his $200 million pay scheme, right? Like that was the massageist decision for the Browns, right? Our masseuse that we love so much, okay. Deshaun.
Yeah.
He chose to frolic through Europe and go to the islands in the Caribbean. That's not what Patrick's doing.
No.
Off time, even the off season, when it's time to relax, when it's time to, I don't know, celebrate being the champion, not once, but twice. No, he's not in an ocean swimming. He's figuring out how he's going to beat your ass again next year.
Yeah.
And that was Tom Brady.
Yeah.
That's what builds a dynasty.
And it's funny too, like Tom's talking, he compared, like brought up Breeze, Manning, and them. And it's like, yeah, it is a different type of quarterback today. Like Pat doesn't need to necessarily read and know defenses quite like they needed to, just the way he plays a game. Pat's best stuff is kind of when he improvises. Like if he doesn't get rid of that ball in 1 or 2 seconds, he's running to the right, he's running to the left. He's hoping some receiver just kind of drifts away from a defender in zone or in man and kind of makes the throw kind of quickly like that. Tom wasn't. Like Tom just didn't, he wasn't athletic enough to do stuff like that. Neither was Breeze or Manning. Like for them, they had to know, like walking up to the line, like, all right, they're going to bail cover 2. They're playing man press, but they're going to back off, or they're going to send a blitz from the outside on the right. Like he would have to know that. Whereas Pat and Josh and Lamar, they're all kind of like these hybrid athletes at quarterback that their legs can get them out of that a little bit more to help them out. But are they watching as much film as Tom? Because then I don't know if you have another clip of Tom, and Tom is talking about like the losses and how the losses of Super Bowls like sit with you more. Like he's like, there's no loss worse in your career than losing in a Super Bowl. Cause he's like, I've won 7. He's like, wherever I go, they'll bring up one of the 3. They won't bring up any of the 7, but he's like, they'll bring up the 3. He's like, I was at the Madison Square Garden a few weeks ago and Spike Lee like had a ball and like put it next to his head, like as the David Tyree play. And it's just like, he's like, that was like 15 years ago. Still gets brought up.
Wow.
And it's like, funny enough, who did Pat lose to in the Super Bowl? Tom.
Well, and to balance this whole consideration, someone I never thought would be a part of today's episode's dialogue and yet has won Super Bowls and played this year, someone like Aaron Rodgers, whose head is just lost in orbit.
Oh, yeah.
Like, dude, your head is everywhere but here and winning championships, and keep that on balance with someone like Drew Brees, who was a patriarch to what you just, your whole point was on a foundation of like 5 collective modern quarterbacks that we've all experienced. Aaron Rodgers having been in tandem with them, having won Super Bowls, never been even close to that consideration, because you could see how sometimes, man, you strike while the iron's hot and you got it.
Yeah.
But you aren't anywhere close to a legendary dynasty.
Well, it's funny, like going off that, it's like that kind of tells you how good Rodgers was, like as like a thrower, like as a pure quarterback talent. That's how good he was. Cause it's like Tom didn't mention his name and he was playing at the same time. Yeah. And I'm sure he left other names off the list, but it's like, that's how talented Rodgers was at just throwing the football. He just didn't have that, like, I have 2 weeks and all I'm doing is watching film on this defense for 2 weeks. That's all I did. So when game day showed up, like I knew them more than them. I can't see Rodgers doing that. And after listening to him talk like off camera and stuff like that, like whenever I'm seeing Tom talking off camera or like on camera, it's always about football. Like it's always football. He doesn't talk about anything else about football. Rodgers, you kind of have to goad him into talking about football.
Oh yeah.
So like there is like a personality thing there, but it's funny when you bring up legacy. It's like that's kind of how I view Rodgers' legacy. Like you have the same amount of Super Bowls as Breeze, and don't kid yourself, you were a better quarterback than Breeze. But that's how hard Drew Brees worked at it to get to that point.
No, I love that. I love that point. And so much of the game of football, while it's like a whole coordinated warfare of a team, you are nothing without a strong quarterback. It starts and ends there. But bringing it back to that Bills game, just putting a cap on it all. So, of course, it's clear the Bills get lost in their own delusion of, and it's irrefutable. There is some intervention that plays in the Chiefs' benefit. However, is it enough to really escape accountability? I would argue not. But I'd like to finalize the internet's arguments because they're pissed. They're pissed. And there was
they were talking about this for days after.
Oh my God. I mean, we're 2 weeks out of it. It's the Super Bowl and they're still talking about it.
That's all we've been talking about.
So I've got Patrick W. Coulter here with 2 clips. The second one being the one that I wanted to bring the most attention to. But first, these are like the 2 major arguments for how the Bills actually won and the Chiefs didn't deserve to go to the Super Bowl.
Entire lifetime of watching football, I have never seen anything close to what happened on this sequence of plays. So here we go. It's 3rd and 5, second quarter, 3 minutes left. Pat Mahomes snaps the ball, drop back the pass. He's going to chuck it deep down the sideline here. And they're going to rule this a catch, okay? Very next play, they run the ball and they get stuffed. Or did they? Now this is where things get weird. Suddenly they're saying that play did not count. So the play that the Chiefs got stuffed on and didn't score a touchdown on suddenly didn't count. They're saying the challenge flag was thrown before the play started, thus they ruled the play dead. But when you listen to the audio, you can't hear a single whistle that is ruling this play dead. Listen in. So as you heard, they didn't even blow the whistle till after the play was over. And then they said the play didn't count. So they let the Chiefs run a free play. Then afterwards blew the whistle. Then said the play didn't count and that they have a challenge and going to review the play. Then they review the play, and on this screenshot, in live time, you can see the ball clearly trapped on the ground, meaning that first down throw by Mahomes was actually an incomplete pass. It's clear as day the ball was trapped on the ground. But what does the review booth have to say about this?
I can't tell if he's trolling or he's serious. I don't think he knows.
So to recap, they ended up ruling the Chiefs play that got stuffed 1st and goal didn't count. And on top of this, after the review, this play where the ball is clearly trapped on the ground was actually a catch. Now let's see what happens 2 plays later. Here we are 2 plays later. 3rd and goal. The Chiefs got an extra down and everything. Pat Mahomes runs out, and there we go. Touchdown Chiefs.
All right, so here's the bigger one. This is the one that everybody was most obsessed with. The tush push, the push tush tush.
What if I were to tell you that we now have indisputable, conclusive proof that Josh Allen literally and technically got this first down?
It's the way he pronounces words. It's just the indisputable tush push. It's like I can't tell if he's like on Buffalo's side or he's making fun of him.
He's apparently a Bills fan.
There is an actual chip inside the football. Next Gen Stats literally uses this chip to measure all kinds of different statistical information. The reason they're able to do this is because there's an actual chip inside the football. This chip is used on every single play to give them the best statistical information on planet Earth. So where does this lie for Josh Allen? Did he get the first down or not? And the answer is 110% yes. This is where Next Gen Stats has the ball on the crucial fourth down play by Josh Allen. And it is clear as day that the ball reaches past the line to gain, giving the Bills a first down and a likely trip to the Super Bowl. But instead, we are stuck watching Pat Mahomes with another completely bogus rigged.
So here, okay, before we dive in and break it all down,
I love Napoleon Dynamite. He's a great guy.
The person that had the greatest response to these delusions was Gruden from Barstool Sports.
Oh, did he? He commented on this?
This is the greatest response.
Gruden, what can fucking America do? Just anything. We can't beat the Chiefs. Do you think it's rigged? It's fucking rigged. It's unbelievable. It's an unbelievable game we just witness every year, and the same thing happens. You can't do anything. You just can't do anything to beat the Chiefs, even if you have the better team. It's not like Tom Brady and the Patriots where you had simply just a better team and outclass Belichick every year, you know? It's fucking pathetic. What do you suggest? What do you suggest, Coach? Save America!
Hey, listen, I thought this was the year for the Bills. But when you can't make the 1 yard you need to make, you don't deserve to go to the Super Bowl. You can have all these stats. That's all I saw in the pregame warm-up. 65 touchdowns, this stat, that stat. You don't make the 1 yard you need in any critical situation, you're going to get knocked out of the playoffs, and you can't rely on some official to give you a spot on the road in a playoff game. You just can't count on the officials. With Josh Allen, this has to be a slam dunk, automatic first down, and you didn't execute. You did not execute. You got the best offensive line in the league from left tackle to right tackle, a 300-pound tackle playing tight end. James Cook hasn't been stopped all night, and Josh Allen has 600 yards rushing and 12 touchdowns. And you can't make this much. The execution, the pad level, the finish, the overall scheming, whatever it is, you lost the game because third and fourth down in that, and you got to live with it. And I don't know how you live with this one. This is tough.
I don't know how you live with this one. You might as well call it quits, man.
Because it's rigged.
But no, it's not. That's what he's getting at. He's like, so let's break it down. If you're going to harp a 4-quarter, 3-hour moment down to 2 plays, you have failed yourself for that moment.
Yes.
You know, every coach that's like Michael Jordan's dad tells him 1,000 hoops every night. You don't get to not do that. There's not a day you get to take off, and you got to do that. So remember those days where you did like 900 and you thought no one was looking? Well, guess what? This is that.
Yeah.
This is that. Because guess what? He didn't take those 100 off that day.
No.
He maybe did 1,100 on an extra day. Where you got an extra push in the tank, that's where you got to do it. That's called the motivation of sports. I'm all for you need the arts. You need a balanced character all over. But every person should have an experience with sports because the character building aspect of sports, above all, is that moment right there.
Yeah.
Wrestling was the hardest thing I ever did, but it was the most important thing I ever did. Because guess what? You got your ass beat that day in front of the whole gym. And it's no one to blame but you. You don't get to blame a ref or a lineman that jumped off sides. That was you.
Yeah.
And this is that moment. And I'm with Gruden. This much, the whole kit and caboodle. There are 31. We'll go 28 other teams that didn't come anywhere near that B. They were way behind you. You climbed close to the top of the pyramid, and what missed the peak was these two moments, then you didn't do enough.
Yeah, I just like it's how I am with Buffalo. Like it's just like I get there's a part of me being facetious. Like Josh, obviously, he's an MVP guy. He's a Super Bowl caliber quarterback. But it's like in that draft class, you had him, Lamar, Darnold, and Baker. They've all played for the same amount of Super Bowls. And what's even more embarrassing is that there's now 3 MVPs amongst 2 of you, and year in, year out, all I hear about is how screwed you guys got. No, not the other 2. You guys keep getting screwed for this much.
Yeah.
And it's just, I'm over it. Like, I'm over it. In next year, I can almost guarantee. You want to know how Buffalo is going to make a Super Bowl? Kansas City loses to Houston in like the divisional round, and then you beat Houston in the AFC Championship game. You're not beating them. Josh looks nervous. During the regular season, well, it doesn't matter. We'll probably have to play him again. He looks too nervous. And I don't know why. There should almost be no nerves. You should be like, shit, like, no way we're beating them. And then when you do, you're like, oh my God, we beat them. Pat, every year, he's just like, you want to know why there's no pressure? I'm your dad. I am your dad. And all of Buffalo knows that Patrick Mahomes is your father, and you hate me, and I'm going to win another ring, and I don't care.
I don't think you think about me all day. I don't think about you twice.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why. And that's why. Like Peyton and Tom, they had like that mutual respect. You know, they put up battles, and sometimes Peyton would win. Most times Tom would win. Sometimes
the autistic Manning won, and they were like, whoa, where'd you come from?
Exactly. But this time it's like, Josh, how many more years do I have to hear from Buffalo fans? Oh, we got the best court. No, you don't. You don't. Stop saying that. Stop. I will look at Bills fans now and be like, you don't. You don't. There's a guy you play every year who has more rings and doesn't lose to you, but your guy's better.
Wait, you know what? He might lose once.
Yes, correct. He could.
At the time, it don't even matter. And when it matters, he dunks on your ass.
Right. It's like, and once you beat Pat in the AFC Championship game, I better not see you flub in the Super Bowl, because I'll never let you guys win it down. Be like, what's the point of beating him? That was like Mount Union when they were really in their prime. They had a team we beat like every year in the playoffs. One year they got us in the semifinal game. They were like, oh my God, we're going to win the national championship. Lost by like 3 touchdowns. Does it matter you beat us? Because then the next year Mount went back and won it. So it's like, does it matter? No. Like finish the year, Josh. Finish the year. And I'm not giving you a pass this time. Not giving you the coin toss here. Sure, you played a great game. You lost on a coin toss. Watch, they're going, and I did think about this, especially after watching Napoleon Dynamite right now. They're going to start doing the next gen stats thing now after this year, I bet, where they're going to have like the radioactive line that's probably giving them all cancer, but at least we'll know if they have a first down or not. And next year they're going to be in the same situation, and that radioactive line is going to be like, short, sorry. Just to hear them all bitch again, and I'll be like, it's like the coin toss thing all over. You wanted this new rule, and you lost again to it. 3-14, do not care. You're like, you're complaining to the Browns fans.
I do appreciate you bring up the coin toss, because I got to transition to that. But before we leave the Gruden point here, you know, it's the Super Bowl in New Orleans. Yep. There's all this media and attention. Celebrities are there. I just want to point out, I think Gruden probably ran into the most exciting and golden glitz celebrities in New Orleans. Let's check it out.
Big Move AJ, look who I ran into here in New Orleans. Hey, Scott Gruden, I just ran into Big Move AJ. And we came to bring the boom. That's right.
Yeah, I was thinking about them the other day. I was like, I haven't seen them in a while, so.
Oh, they're there. They're winning Super Bowl.
Please tell me they just did some booms.
And we came to bring the
boom.
That's right.
It is a good day in America when they do that.
I thought you'd get a kick out of that.
I was talking to my cousins yesterday. They have no idea who they are.
That's where you know the tier of generations.
I got a drink. I got they had like a stout, and they're like, "Oh, it's new. Do you want to try it?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll try it." It's okay. They're like, "Did you like it?" I was like, "I'm gonna give that one 5 big booms." And my cousins were like, "What?" I was like, "You don't know the Costco people?" And they looked at me like I was autistic. They're like,
The
what?
Costco people?
Yeah, the Costco people. I was like, you've never heard of them. I couldn't believe they hadn't heard of them. I was like, No way you don't know these people. These are magical humans in this country.
Oh, I believe it. I could tell you for sure there is a line and there's a whole sector of humans on the other side of it. This whole realm doesn't even
It's
exist.
like a bell curve, right? And it's like in the middle is normal, and on the left and right is like autism. And it's like
look at your cousin.
Oh yeah.
What are you doing?
Oh, I didn't even think of that. That's
Topper
good.
Is.
That's good. I got to bring that one.
Is he there? That's who I really care about. Is the
Yes,
Rizzler
he's there?
And he better be.
He's gonna perform a Kendrick. What are you talking about? They're gonna perform Not Like Us, and he's gonna gwitty onto the stage.
So last little bit here for the Bills bit. I think I'm with you. Like, you guys got to step up and rise to the occasion. But I think people just gravitate to like needing them to be what they aren't. They're a step too short. Their driveway doesn't quite reach the street. They're one tool short of a toolbox. Like, they're just not quite it. They're the closest to it, but just not quite it.
Meanwhile, while he says they're 1 foot short of the driveway, the Browns are locked in the basement still. So we both we're all still not out of the driveway, but so
Facts.
Yeah,
it's like those three girls in the basement in Cleveland. That's what it is.
Yeah,
Cleveland. That's us.
Yeah. The three girls are Haslam, Stefanski, and Barry. They're just like in there still.
No, it's us.
Oh,
it's us.
Yeah,
they have us tied up.
Yeah, we're definitely being held hostage. We're the ones being held hostage.
You're right. They're upstairs and they can't find the key.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
Well, no. Haslam made you pregnant.
Oh, Jesus.
It's historical.
Right,
Google
let's
it.
land this plane.
Anyway, so I think people gravitate towards needing the Bills to be what they're not, wanting them to be better than the Chiefs, but they're not, because the Chiefs are so unlikable. They're so terrible.
Yeah.
Like, I got two of them. This one's up there. You talked about the coin toss. When you see moments like this, it's like, Pat, this is why we hate you.
What's his biggest fear?
That's it. I actually thought this was funny.
Vegetables.
A coin toss.
Josh's face just,
That's a good
I hate you.
Josh.
Hey, that wasn't for Josh. That's for all these Bills fans out here.
Division from within. This is starting well. Division from within.
I thought we were on the same team.
I love it. We don't have to do
See?
that today.
You know what?
Get him back.
Pat's biggest fear is letting me down on the course today. That's his biggest fear.
That's a golden
He's
retriever
trying to get in
answer.
my head.
I love it.
He's trying to
All
get
right,
in my head of
Josh.
his teammate.
Pat beat you again.
Golden
He beat you right there, too.
Yeah,
You want to know what's funny is, like you mentioned, or like Pat doesn't even give you guys a second thought. That's how much of a less of a thought he gives you. He's scared of the coin.
Well, no, because you brought up they had to change the rules.
I know.
Big old thing.
I know.
And I love how they're like, you guys are playing together in a golf outing. Like, you're supposed to be teammates.
That's the competitive edge.
And his biggest fear is letting me down. No.
Do you think we'd
Nah,
like
you can
him
give a
more
shit.
if he didn't sound like Kermit the Frog?
Yeah, that doesn't help either.
Like, do you think you're like, hi, he
No,
doesn't like
I
our coin
think
toss?
if the foundation of our relationship is your nail painting, like, dress wearing brother dancing with like your obnoxiously loud, combative wife, like, we just don't like you. But then now it's like we don't actually have a reason to dislike you, because you did what you should have done sooner and you reined their asses in big time. And now we just go, I guess we don't like his voice.
They literally reined them in. They're like, his brother and Brittany Mahomes were like behind closed doors. They were like, what can we do to like bring us back to the spotlight? And like they called up Travis Kelce and they're like, seduce Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
And that's how it started. And now they're back, baby. And Pat, Pat in the background, he's like, I had a plan. I had a plan to get rid of this. And now he's gritting on the logos again. I can't help it.
Oh, why do they have to be on the Jumbotron with Taylor Swift?
Yeah, Pat throws a touchdown. He looks up and sees Taylor Swift. I can't win.
My brother.
I can't win.
But, okay, that one's a little bit more fun. This one, I think, is a true reflection of character. There were two moments where these top-tier quarterbacks dealt with loss. And the way they both approach them, I think, speaks to why, again, you may be the king of the sport, but you're never going to be the people's person.
Offensive offsides in that moment, man. Terrible.
Fucking terrible. Where's Miss Piggy? You know, but it's like, the whole, I've thought about it too since, like, I'm thinking of like the Patriots dynasty. Thinking of the Patriots dynasty in Kansas City's, and somebody asked me, he's like, what is it? He's not like a big football watcher. He's a kid we went to high school with, play Xbox with him. And he's like, I'm not a big NFL guy, but we have a mutual friend we game with, and he's a big Kansas City guy. Now, I never heard of him talk about football before the dynasty, but he's a big Kansas City guy now. And our buddy we went to high school with is annoyed with him because all he does is bounce on it crazy style for Patrick Mahomes. So then he comes at me style, and he's like, what's the difference? I was like, the difference in dynasties is nobody knew anything about the Patriots other than they won, because Bill and Tom wouldn't say a goddamn word. And if anyone stepped out of line, like the next time you saw them, like their mouth was literally sewn shut as they were trying to talk on camera. I was like, in Kansas City Chiefs, I was like, they're celebrities. Like, they are celebrities. They win, but they're also the celebrity aspect to it. I was like, you see, like, I never saw Tom Brady in commercials. He won like 6 Super Bowls before I saw him.
Yeah.
I never saw him. He won 6 Super Bowls, then I saw him in commercials. I was like, good for you. He found work. And passed on one dynasty, and it's like, coming from a fan base that had a guy in commercials, we see this dude in every commercial now, and everyone just has to accept it because he wins the Super Bowls. And that was the thing. I was like, no, you just, like, the Patriot dynasty won. The longevity of it, I don't think Kansas City could duplicate. Like, you got to go 20 years and win 8.
Aaron Rodgers used to always have the discount double check.
Yeah, and now he's in the cloud. So
yeah, now he's doing ayahuasca in a forest.
Yeah, so like, but I told him, I was like, in terms of like success, both dynasties are similar, but it was like just the way they compose themselves. I was like, New England was like a military operation. Like, you didn't really know. Like, Bill wouldn't talk, Tom wouldn't talk. They never looked happy until they won the Super Bowl. They won the Super Bowl, and then Bill would be like, oh my God, he's smiling. He's a human. We thought he was a robot.
Yeah.
And it's like Pat, and it's like they're celebrities, man. They're at the Met Gala every year, dressed to the nines and whatever. It's like Tom had a supermodel wife at the time, and we were like, he's not talking. He was his wife's bitch, is what everyone. That was the one up they all had on him. Well, she makes more money than you. It's like, yeah, he's on his 4th Super Bowl. Tell that to him.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I got a rich wife too. Keep winning. But Tom wouldn't even say that. Like, that was like, it was such a different like characterization of the dynasties. And it's like, I look back, and maybe because I grew up with it more, and now that I'm a cynical adult, I could look at the Chiefs one and be like, that's a lot of monetization I don't like. But the Patriots was just such like, what's going on in New England? They're winning. I don't know. Like, to ask them, they won't answer. We ask them every week, Bill, how you doing? Like, it was so bizarre. And it's like, I miss that.
Yeah.
I missed that. Now you have Andy Reid, Bundarooski. And it's like, that's not my coach. My coach he's got a hoodie on and he looks like the Emperor Palpatine. That's my coach.
You really got your finger on the pulse with this one, because I don't love that.
Do you know how many schizophrenic thoughts I've had in the last 2 weeks about Patrick Mahomes' dynasty and Tom Brady's dynasty? Because I'm dying on the hill. Tom Brady's the best ever. So I'm defending it to the day I die. But I look at it, I was like, this is them. This is the Chiefs. And that one I respected more, because even though it pissed us off, they would look at you and be like, how's your day? Good. What'd you do? Worked. Are you having fun? No. As they're about to win again. And I'd be like, I like you. You got that cynicism I'm going to get someday. And then I look at the Chiefs party. Dude, if I have to see Travis Kelce after they win today before he proposes to Taylor Swift go like, nobody thought we could be here. Everyone said we were the underdog. Nobody in their right effing mind is calling you the underdog. He did that last year, and ever since then, I was like, I don't like you. Stop doing that. Want to know why I respected Tom? They'd win it, and every year they'd be like, yeah, suck it, bitch. Went back to not talking. That was all they said. Won a Super Bowl, suck it, bitch. Didn't say a word till the next one. I could respect the hell out of that. That is like some sportsmanship. Even I'm like, what do I say back to you, you son of a bitch? And then he'd win it next year. Every year, Kermit the Frog, oh, we're going to get back here next year. With his wife, Miss Piggy. And then all you got is Travis Kelce. No one thought we could do this. Everyone said the Chiefs, no way they'll win the Super Bowl. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot you won it the last 2. Heaven forbid. I thought maybe you'd win it a 3rd. Ridiculous behavior. That's goofy behavior.
Yes.
That is uneducated Cleveland person behavior.
but we don't claim him.
No, we don't. He claims us, and I'm going to be like, unfortunately. Unfortunately. I saw your first pitch at the Indians game. Woof. My quarterback would never.
He catches, he doesn't throw.
All right, that's my rant. Sorry. It's been on my chest.
Well, I can appreciate it.
A lot of people.
We don't need to hear the speech, but closing up the concept here, Josh Allen did win the MVP award for the year.
It was a tight one.
Yeah, Lamar's got a strong claim to it too, but like you said, the guy, I love the way you packaged it all, where Lamar just tries to be the flashiest, and because of that falls the shortest of being great.
Well, it's like in that game, I think they Bills-Ravens game, they said like he had not had more than one turnover all year. And in the first half, he had 2 turnovers. And it's like, yeah, he just gets in these games and it's like the pressure, like that, like pressure makes diamonds. And like both Josh and Lamar, they get close to being a diamond and then it just like kind of cracks, and it's like Pat, like every year he's the Hope Diamond.
Right.
Right. Love or hate it. Like that's how I view it. And I refuse to believe though, that the MVP votes strictly sit with the regular season. Like that you're not supposed to do the postseason. I'm sorry. I'm so past that.
Oh,
if you don't find out who the MVP is until like 2 days before the Super Bowl, I'm going to have some consideration looking at the postseason.
I don't know why they wait so long for that, because if it's truly supposed to be just a regular season, then we should know the week of the wild card games.
And even then I don't know if we're talking about Josh Allen.
Exactly. But I saw that game and Josh played a better game, but this is the battle of the MVPs. That's what the game was dubbed. It was like the duel of the MVPs, like a lightsaber battle in Star Wars. And Josh won. So I have no issue with him getting the award then, and that if that's the case. But just knowing it's all based on regular season, it's hard to look at Lamar's stats and say, yeah, Josh's was better in the regular season. But I still thought they both had a good claim, but Josh won. I don't make the rules.
That's how the cookie crumbles. So again, it being the Sunday Football Review in the last 2 weeks, I just wanted to at least acknowledge, the MVP award. But the Bills game wasn't the only game leading into the Super Bowl. And there was a lot of, I wouldn't say as much football technicality interest in this game as much as just a crazy circus that swirls around, I guess, really any Philadelphia event. But I guess the best way to embody the game is first, let's just kick off. Here's a Commanders fan coping with the loss following the game.
Barkley. I swear, Shayshawn Barkley is the best. We survived the Giants, and now the Eagles got Shayshawn Barkley. Lord have mercy, man. All to the Eagles, man. All to the Birds.
Eagles, okay. I mean, here's the reality. It was all that Shayshawn Barkley. That's Shayshawn Barkley.
Oh, is that what he was saying?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Shayshawn, it was something else. That's
Shayshawn.
That Shayshawn Barkley can be something else. Take a look at this.
Hurts under center and
I mean, I haven't seen plays like we were talking about 2 episodes ago, how we don't see running plays like this anymore.
I know. You're like, no one has long touchdowns. It's like Saquon's like, hold the fort, man. That was like first play of the game, like first play offensively for him.
That was so.
Can you imagine how demoralizing that had to be for Washington right away? Just be like, oh, that looked easy. Like we got 3. Hell yeah, we got 3 first drive.
It did look easy.
That was the thing. It's like, oh, this might be a long 3 hours. And like for Washington, unbelievable season. Seriously. I called it at the start of the year. Jaden Daniels, offensive rookie of the year. They way overachieved than I thought. I would not have picked them in the NFC Championship game. They have nothing to hold their head on. But that first play had to have been, everybody in Washington just like puckered. They were like, oh, whoa, don't let him get the ball again. And I think like in the first 3 carries, they had like 2 touchdowns. Like you just tell, they all were probably sitting there like, ooh, okay, this might get bad.
They did a great job dominating the game. And
they put up 28 points or something like that.
Oh yeah.
They still got their scores.
Yeah. Well, let me again, we got to do a review. We don't want to leave some of the interesting aspects of the big football weekend behind. Do you remember when the refs literally made a warning to hand the other team a touchdown?
Yeah. Washington has been advised that at some point the referee can award a score if this type of
was literally two plays in a row where the defender, it was two in a row where a defender just straight up jumped over the line before the ball was snapped for an offsides, just trying to have the perfect timing. Like a look at the I was about to say the trend that Troy Polamalu started. So the third rolls around and they are literally not even moving the ball now.
Yeah.
Like the ball, because at a certain point, if you can't get the 5 yards, you cut the distance in half to the goal line. And they kept cutting it in half to a point where when the third penalty happened, the ball could not move.
Yeah. And
so that's when the ref said, if you do this again, we are literally handing the other team a touchdown. So without that, like, kind of, luck, like you're just rolling the die to get that lucky, perfect trigger over the line.
Yeah.
And without that, of course, they scored with ease.
Yeah.
But what an interest. No, we've never seen before ever a referee make the claim that do it again, and we're going to hand the other team a touchdown.
I didn't even know there was a rule.
It was an improvised, like, we need to do this or else we'll be here forever.
I think it is a rule, like at some point.
It's a stalemate.
But,
but at a certain point, you've reached a stalemate without intervention.
Well, it's like, how do you move the ball closer without the tip going over the line?
You don't.
Yeah.
So now that third one being the ball doesn't move, it's like, all right, now we got to intervene.
And it's like, I just think, like I said, for Washington fans, it's like, this is what we've been resorted to, that the refs are like, damn it, we're giving it to them.
Yes.
Stop it.
Yes. So one of the other fun aspects of the game, here's Jordan Mailata, who is an offensive lineman out here just busting out Bane quotes.
I was wondering what would break first, your spirit or your body?
I knew you'd like that, Doug.
I appreciate football players because they're just dudes at the end of the day.
Yes.
They're just, some of them, someone heard it and was like, sick reference.
We literally have Batman on our team, guys. All right.
That is true. We do have Batman.
Yeah, we do.
He is gimping a little bit, but we do have Batman.
He went from Batman to the Penguin.
No, he went from Batman Dark Knight Rises
None
to
of us would
Batman
ever say
whatever
this
the
to
last
his
one
face.
was.
No.
We love you.
Dude, if
We'll
I
kiss
looked
the
at him,
ground
if I saw him in person, I'd be like, dude, get out of town, man. Like, the bus is leaving. Don't get stuck here, dude. I want good things for you in life.
Well, it's funny you say that. I don't want to get to the end of the game quite yet, but the bus is leaving. Well, not the Commanders bus. This is life in Philly. Just anarchy and just Mad Max. But here is the Commanders bus trying to leave Philadelphia after just like also getting walloped and not going to the Super Bowl. Also, I had to put the rethink tank there to cover the expletive of the person that's proudly F-Uing. Like the person that posted this was just proudly like, oh yeah, F-U.
You have these.
Where are the cops that are usually in a whole caravan?
Oh, they hide in Philly.
Oh, there, yeah. Dude, are you kidding me?
Mad Max.
Are you kidding me?
Where are the cops in Mad Max? That's the same. You asked the same silly question.
Dude, they're celebrating. I don't know what you're talking.
That bus ain't leaving.
You have these professional athletes who didn't think they'd ever be in this situation, got in the game, didn't go your way. It just, the other team was probably really respectable. Like, hey, man, hell of a year. Great job. Next year, let's run this one back. And then you see the fans, and they're probably walking out of there going like, those are horrible people.
Oh, yeah.
They're the worst kind of people.
So,
Alex,
again,
real quick, I would have titled that video, The Struggle Bus. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
It's something. So before we get to the end of the game, there was one last piece of the game that was just hilarious to me for how much we're talking about Tom Brady, and as a commentator and really just as a wise resource for football, it is fun getting excited about when he's commentating on your game. And this was the game of the championship weekend that he was commentating. Nick Foles was there, who Big Dick Nick was the quarterback that defeated him. And so this was the other really fun clip of Tom Brady from this past week.
There's Nick Foles in the building, Super Bowl MVP, led to that Super Bowl win. Who did he play that game? Do you know he played that game?
Is he dead? Oh, no, he's alive.
Shut up, Doug. Please.
Do you know he played that game? I love you.
Nick, I don't hate you. I'm just jealous of you. You caught it. I didn't.
You caught it,
dude.
I didn't.
It's so hard to not like Tom Brady.
That's what I mean.
I think that's the thing. It's like he's so good at making fun of himself that it pisses us off. Like us normal people.
Is he dead? What?
Well,
No.
he was like down. It's like, ugh.
He's probably looking at his phone, seeing if his bets were hitting.
Probably
Probably
straight up.
Probably bet so much money on Saquon. Say, what do you say?
So we didn't do. Oh wait, I do want to two little things left of the Philly Commanders game. So of course, this is a big moment, winning the championship, going to the world's biggest game, and they try to sell you on like this is the beautiful moment. This is Philly. This is exciting. Beautiful little baby. Zach Bond, linebacker, 53, number 53, Oh, and just the confetti. This is what they sell you on.
All right, what is happening outside of that stadium right now? They're just seeing this child, and there's like a war zone going on.
Here's real Philly.
And you were in the green zone. This is now the red zone.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like there's like
Mayor can't spell Eagles.
EGL. What an idiot! What an idiot!
What a perfect representation of Philly.
Yeah. Oh no. Hey! You elect your people, and I appreciate
that day. Someone climbed somebody who was a professional climber and gymnast climbed a sign, fell, unalived. Other videos of people bang bang in the crowds. Videos we can't review because inappropriate. That okay. Philadelphia as an entire city is a violation to YouTube's terms and agreements. Your existence is a violation of YouTube's terms.
There's New York subways and Philadelphia fans.
Yeah,
Alex, you should have been pulling up videos from when you were in Philly last time they won, dude.
Did you not just hear him terms of service?
That's what I'm saying.
Do you think it gets better on his camera?
I do.
I mean, all he has is people dancing on top of his buddy's car and then all that,
Yeah.
And it's his buddy's car.
I haven't seen a single video.
I need to add a Doug button.
I need to see.
There needs to be crickets.
No, it should just be Kermit's voice. You want to know though? It's
Doug
like I'm
funny.
thinking of like the Philly fans, and I'm like, I haven't seen a single like wholesome video out of Philly fans. I see the players all the time, but like the Philly fans, it's always just debauchery and orgies in the street. And I'm just like, is this allowed?
You know what? If the highest level of disdain for a Buckeyes fan is that they crushed your child's fantastical belief of Santa,
that's just funny.
Yeah, it's what I mean.
One's just funny.
Yours is bullet holes.
Yours actually is harmful to people and their safety, and probably your players as well. Like you don't care. The only player on that team they would be like, don't touch is Saquon. Like you're not allowed to touch Saquon. Every other one.
And Jalen, I bet.
Is Saquon.
Jalen would be in it. He'd be running them streets.
Yeah, honestly, he probably. Speaking of Jalen, though, that's a classy kid. Like that is like he's no issues. Seems like a very very mature, morally good kid. Like you don't see. I see videos of him all the time, just kind of talking.
Well spoken.
Yes, well spoken. Like that is a very sharp young man.
True. Now, moving on from an actual football weekend. We didn't have a Sunday football review last weekend because the Pro Bowl is nothing but a dud of existence.
Oh, I hope you have a video of it.
Oh, yeah. So to truly immortalize how much of a pitfall and failure the Pro Bowl has become, there is a whole slew of wasted time, childish games that they play like dodgeball and hula hoop. I don't know. Hopscotch.
The quarterback accuracy one's kind of cool, but it's like I just think that's like a cool like side game. It shouldn't be a main event thing.
Potentially. But I think even if there is some, inkling of excitement that comes from that, it gets lost in the wave of idiocracy that is Pro Bowl weekend. And I think the receiver competition embodied that the most.
I need people's opinions here. This is what the NFL had the receivers doing at the Pro Bowl. They have to make a few one-handed catches. Then they got to go make catches with mascot hands. It's just
the mascot hands. That's where you lost me. Watch this. Stingley Jr. can catch a ball, by the way. He's pretty good at this thing. This is supposed to get me excited to tune in on a Saturday.
I remember the Pro Bowl game was on. I saw people in the stands. And my first thought was, why?
There was a game.
Yeah, there was
a game. They scored.
There was a game. Yeah.
Yeah. The game itself gets so lost in Snickers tosses that I couldn't even tell you who won. I didn't even know it actually still goes on.
The NFC won again.
Oh, that's adorable.
Yeah. But no, it's like 7-on-7 flag football.
This is a joke.
But yeah, I wish they would go back to how it used to be. Like you'd have like 40-yard dash times and see like who was the fastest. You know, like that's what I want to see.
I want to see a lineman score a touchdown again. I miss
that.
Okay.
Crickets. See what I mean?
But have furthest throw, like who could throw the ball the furthest.
Well,
if you're gonna do something like that,
seeing who throws the ball the furthest and how
I don't blame them for getting rid of the pads and the hitting in the Pro Bowl because it's like you don't want these guys to get like a Nick Chubb like injury in this game of all.
But it wasn't like they were even trying.
I get it.
But like in terms of like the side games you could do, it's like that's what we're reduced.
But everything you just said, like I'm sorry, you would find value in it because you did 7-on-7s. You were on that part of football.
Yeah.
But also take a step back and look at who went to go watch those.
Exactly.
So your dad or the dad of the defender across from you, they were there. No one else went to these things because it isn't football. It's a good exercise.
It's simulated
but that's as if there's a crowd to come watch you run sleds or do the bleachers. That isn't the game.
Right.
So I hear you. I think you would find value in it because you experienced it. Just like when I try to sell somebody on football and they're like, I hate the sport. It's like, yeah, I get it from your perspective because what has me drawn to it is the fact that I experienced it.
Yeah.
So when I look at the Pro Bowl it's almost like the UFC did an all-star game, an all-star
WWE Royal Rumble, 16 of them in the cage.
Okay, maybe not to that extent.
That'd
but let's
sick.
just say you did like some wild, the champion of the lightweight versus the heavyweight, crazy or two of them, like 1 and 2 versus just because there are leagues that do that.
Of one against the other.
Just let me finish the thought. So the point is this: you're creating a game where you're nerfing it because it's a physical sport, and you're refusing to acknowledge that nerfing it removes what makes it the game.
Yeah, you're removing
and
the
so
central
it
element.
removes the excitement.
Yeah.
So when you're saying the thing that would excite me, what I would like to do would be watching like the deep pass, a throwing accuracy game. The fact that we are leaving a Pro Bowl weekend of professionals where the most exciting person that delivered on that was 13-year-old Marshall Manning just showing up everybody.
Yep.
He's gonna look real good in a Browns uniform in 12 years. Yeah, I mean the Pro Bowl. At this point, I still don't even know why they're doing it.
Right, that's what
Other
I
than
mean.
give the award, like this was a Pro Bowler. Like I'm still fine with that, but like the weekend itself, it's such like a waste of time. Like it really, like I genuinely, I saw people in the stands. It's like, why did you go to that?
Right.
Why did you go to that?
My TV never hit the channel. That's why I'm shocked it exists anymore. And again, if it's a necessary nerfing of the sport because you need to keep it safe and everything else, then acknowledge you're in a contact sport. It's not the same competition, and just eliminate it in its entirety because it's a wasted weekend. No one's watching. The last thing to come out of that weekend that I have for us here is all of the players kind of gave their predictions, or at the very least, who they'd like to see win going into this week's Super Bowl.
I can imagine.
Win the Super Bowl.
The craziest shit I've ever seen. Chiefs? I don't give a shit. Next question. Nobody. What's mine? Chiefs versus
Philly.
who?
Philly.
Saquon Barkley. I don't care. Super Bowl, I'm going for the Eagles, man. All right, the Eagles. Next. Chiefs.
I thought that was Trevor Lawrence.
Like Philly.
No matter how terrible this game is, Trevor Lawrence ain't getting near it.
No. No, he didn't even make it to the Pro Bowl.
Heck no.
I hope your injury recovery is going well, man. If you see this, all jokes.
So let's get to, the Super Bowl itself.
Yeah.
This is a big day, big weekend, a lot to get excited for. But also, New Orleans did experience some weirdness the last couple weeks. And, with that incident tragedy that happened down on Bourbon Street. And now the president is trying to shake up history and be the first to go to a Super Bowl, which only adds security. So they've got a lot of security rolling out.
Millions are glued to their TVs on Super Bowl Sunday. Federal agents will be circling above New Orleans and along the Mississippi River. In the French Quarter, heavily armed National Guardsmen patrolling on foot. In all, nearly 3,000 law enforcement personnel will be spread out across the city.
So they know where the crowds are, where the crowds aren't, and if anything happens that changes that scenario, then they'll be able to identify that.
Beyond surveillance, these federal agents will also be ready to respond if someone violates game day flight restrictions.
Uh-oh.
On the water, boat crews watching for...
Which seems to be a problem currently. But of course, this escalated, form of security is necessary because they've been experiencing a lot of issues in New Orleans. Oh, here.
And we are really quite prepared.
But that planning came under renewed scrutiny after a terrorist
joke pop
barreled
in my
down
head. I
Bourbon
didn't want to
Street.
say it.
Was that?
I had a joke pop in my head when I saw her. I didn't want to say it.
Yeah, save it.
The plan for Super Bowl has been in place, working on that plan for 18 months.
How does that work?
Yeah, where was that
how does that
planning?
work? 18 months. How? How'd you be? Anyway, so, yeah. Will was asking me, this is the first time a president has been to the Super Bowl. When you get political, groundbreaking Super Bowl news like this, there's no better journalist of truth that I would seek out more than Don Lemon. And thank God Don Lemon is interviewing the beacon of football broadcasting sports talk, Robert Griffin III.
You think about the first sitting president to go to a Super Bowl game will be this Sunday. How do you feel about that?
He's the first.
He's the first.
To actually be there in person.
Yep.
Yeah, they better have a lot of security, man, because the decisions that he's making.
What are you saying?
Are not just rocking the boat. It's like turning the ship over.
I don't like it.
Sounds like he's rocking the boat.
Gaza. He wants to level Gaza and make it the Riviera of the Middle East.
Of the Middle East, the Riviera of the Middle East. And I actually tweeted about that, and it's like, I've never heard a president say that or do that or sign some of the things that he signed. But he's being a man of his word in the fact that he's going to try to do things differently. Mm-hmm. So, of course, he's going to go to the Super Bowl. Of course, he's going to do these other things that many have felt are like outlandish. Yeah. Football is the king of American sports and entertainment. That's the bottom line. He wants to be there and be the king and be a king president. So I'm not shocked that he's going.
You ain't black. I wish, as he was talking, he started doing his mannerisms. It's the beacon of American sports. And,
It's the beacon.
He's just sort of kind of playing into it, just in front of Don Lemon. Can you imagine?
I will be eager to see how that plays out today. How that's featured.
Dude, he's going to be in the same building as Taylor Swift at the same time, and it's going to be the red versus blue.
Suites right next to each other.
They'll be shaking hands and taking the lemmings. Don't even know.
I want her to shake his hand just for that photo to get out there on the internet, just so all the fans can see it. Be like, this is
we're getting played.
Just watch I just want to see Twitter meltdown. I don't care about any of the implications of it. Just I need to see reactions. I want to see if they're handling it maturely.
So all these big names at the Super Bowl, Taylor Swift, the Don, President of the United States,
Patrick Mahomes' brother.
Whoa. I mean, big personality.
Big booms at the place.
And yet, with all of this excitement rolling around New Orleans, the person that is taking all of the excitement, that is becoming really the poster boy of this whole weekend and couldn't be more exciting for the people in our studio because it's our quarterback. But cheers to Jameis Winston as he becomes the centerpiece of Super Bowl weekend.
Jameis Winston was my favorite part so far of opening night.
Jameis Winston was active out there.
Yeah,
he was.
Jameis Winston, he is a network sports correspondent this week covering the game.
This guy is everywhere. Jameis Winston, your former teammate, is doing the Jameis Winston thing. He's on the microphone. He's throwing W's.
Jameis W cookies, man. I could see that being a whole branded thing. Man.
Did you see who was there last night?
Jameis?
Walking around having guys eat W cookies?
Jameis?
That was awesome.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jameis Winston, your Fox correspondent.
Hey, so all these great interviews, he's got clips just all over the internet. Kicking it off though, one of my favorite ones. Here's Jameis just and what makes this so perfect is a lot of our dialogue on the show has been Jameis should be a preacher. We'd love to see him as a sports commentator. It's clearly a part of his nature, but at the same time, you could see him being a preacher. Well, I'm glad to see him kind of growing in this space.
Like kind of being on the dark side now. I mean, being interviewed and now, well, I mean, since I came out the room, I was on the dark side.
What the fuck is he talking about?
I just love it. Like, he's got the perfect instinct for this. So,
he was born to have a microphone.
Oh yeah. So he was with the players in the press conference prior to the game a couple days ago. And so here's some of the fun interviews we had.
Been here before, man. You going for your fourth Super Bowl with this organization, man. What all of us really want to know here today, brother, is what's your favorite color?
Oh, man, James, man, it's always a pleasure, man. Favorite color is always red, man.
Red? Do you be seeing red when you be sacking quarterbacks, man? Because you're not pleasant when you're in the backfield.
You know what? I do see a sea of red, man. I do see a sea of red.
Okay, so when you push my right tackle in my lap, were you thinking about the sack or were you just trying to hurt my right tackle?
I was definitely thinking about the sack. I was definitely thinking about the sack, Jay.
You have to know when they're like, Jameis Winston has a question for you. In the back of their head, they're like, Jesus fucking Christ.
No, that is not at all their thought. I know every single one of them are like, oh my God, they've been hearing it from dumb white people all day. I guarantee that is the most excited they are all day. Yes, please. I want to hear his question.
No, the dumb white people, they ask the safe questions. Jameis has a question for you.
No.
Wonder what this could be.
We've got a series of 5 more. Not one of them make that face. Because, again, this dude is just nothing but a beacon of excitement everywhere he goes.
Devonta, we know we here for the Super Bowl, baby. We know you born right down the street. There's so many stakes on this game, man, and I know you ready for it. I can look it in your eyes. But the question that we all want to know is, what's your favorite color?
Pink.
Hard-hitting question.
Oh, my gosh. Pink toes. Ooh, pink toes. Let me tell you something about pink toes, all right? Run away from the pink toes. All right, my wife's favorite color is pink toes, all right? She loves them pink toenails, all right? I just want to give you your flowers, man. You earned every step of the way. You my Heisman brother, man. Let me just give you a W, brother. Can I give you a W? For sure. Catch this W.
Giving that man a mic is like handing him a loaded gun.
Make sure you eat
Bang, bang.
Toes.
This one, as a Browns fan, had me a little but this was the big question for Saquon.
Free agency, man. I'm a free agent. I really don't got no job. Who should sign me in free agency?
I think New York need a quarterback right now.
New York? Who?
That's actually funny.
Okay, brother. Thank you. I'll give him a call.
Yeah.
The Giants.
Who you think?
For sure.
Who needs it? My former employer.
Yeah, the team that got rid of me.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm playing Sunday. They're not.
But that was a common question he was throwing around a lot this weekend.
Oh, I would be.
Hey, where should I go? Anybody want to take me?
Dude, he
Man, I have so much respect.
should have said for sale on it the whole weekend.
For
sale.
Yeah.
For this job, another quarterback job, anyone but the current job.
Well,
Man, I have so much respect.
I'm a big fan.
Hey, Jameis Winston, Fox
Yeah,
Sports.
I know who you are.
Man, I got so much respect for your leadership. Every year I watch the Philadelphia Eagles, I see that team is resilient, it's tough, and accountable. Can you please just answer the question that we all want to know? What do you think I need to go for free agency?
Say what you asked me again.
What do you think I need to go for free agency?
I don't know. I know you're a heck of a football player, though, and I think we were talking. Somebody and I were talking about you the other day. You got a lot of charisma. You seemed like a really good leader. Were you around Joe Casper?
I was around Joe.
He talks highly of you.
Yes.
Dave Borgonzi talks very
Coach
highly
Borgonzi.
of you. So everybody I've ever talked to sings your praises, and obviously your play speaks for itself. You got a lot of respect for you, man.
But the key to his brand and what made the best was just tossing out W's.
You catch a W for me?
I'm going to try and catch a dub for you, big dog.
Just catch this W first. Thank you, my brother. Can you catch one more for me so we can get a clean W? Hey, you know, somebody always trying to intercept my stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was going to happen here.
Even tossing dubs to D-Hop.
Brother. You can catch footballs, but can you catch W's?
Come on, you know I catch all the W's. You know it, baby.
Oh! I got another one for you because you don't drop nothing. We're going to get you another one. And this got the plastic bag on it. I got one more for you because that was a bad throw, too. I got another one for you.
One of these guys are going to
You're
fall
going to keep getting these opportunities. I wish I could throw to you.
They can't play on Sunday.
And Jameis, they all look at Jameis like it's your fault. Of all the interviews, players, coaches, and all, I would say this one has to be the most top tier, celebrity-wise and cutting-edge-wise.
Please take a competition. I'm going to give my best favorite impersonation. You give your best quarterback leadership impersonation starting now.
Hey, yo, check this out. When we get out there on that field, hey, yo, everybody got to run the plays correct. You know what I'm saying? And, hey, and not only that, but when I pass the ball, you got to catch it. When I hand the ball off, I just want you to run a touchdown. You know what I'm saying? On the strength. And you know what? We got this game in the bag, y'all. I'm telling you, all the defense got to do, just hold up. All the offense got to do is just make way for the quarterback.
Yeah, boy. You know it's your boy Jameis Winston right here. We coming live and local. And
The hell is that
time
suit?
It's Jameis time. You already know. You better check my clock. You better start clocking me, dog. You know I'm the hottest man in the streets. The hottest man with the beat. The hottest man with the beat. Right here, baby.
Can I ask you a question? Please. Did I do good?
Man, you did great.
You know, I just gotta say, it wasn't just him like doing cutting edge media interviews, causing a stir at the journalist corner. Who gave this man a microphone to just cause havoc throughout New Orleans? I mean, this was a great investment by Fox. It's literally just Jameis, just tons and tons of clips of Jameis going through town, causing issues,
causing chaos,
getting into crashes.
Listen. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus.
Get a horse carriage.
Pulls out right in front of the
that
carriage.
poor horse.
It's a handlebar.
Oh, now there's a crying baby.
Yeah,
Dude,
crying
like,
baby.
I'm dead serious. Next year, if they have him do this, they are going to raise the liability insurance on this man.
You're probably 100% right.
They're going to see the behind the scenes footage and like, Jesus Christ, we thought $5,000 would be enough.
Dude, here's him harassing billionaires on their yacht.
Hey, come here. Where you going? We trying to get a ride. Let us in. Hey, I know y'all hear us. I just want a tour.
He literally sits here for like another 2 minutes just yelling into billionaires as they're trying to ignore him. You can't ignore me. I know you see me. We are seeing each other. Oh, yeah. But I thought that would have been kind of like the cap on the whole Jameis thing, right? Like he's out, he's having fun. I don't know if you've ever been to New Orleans, but the big staple are these little donuts called beignets. And he, of course, gets them to make a beignet.
You look at this.
In the shape of a W.
Oh, my God. Look at the powder that's coming off that thing. Oh, my Lord. Look at that powder. Hey, Jameis. I heard you've been eating a lot of me. Yes, I have, W. Beignet. But I heard that it's only one of you. Well, Jameis, please take your time and eat me so you can savor every moment.
This is our Brown season right here, dude.
I really don't want any heartburn,
Browns
so
at
I'm
the
just going
Super
to make
Bowl
sure
right
that I
here.
eat you as fast as I possibly can and drink some water to get rid of all the W. Beignet, I really don't want any heartburn, so I'm just going to make sure that I eat you as fast as I possibly can and drink some water to get rid of all the sugar that you have. Jameis, I am a New Orleans staple. Everyone wakes up to come and eat me. Obviously, no one really comes to eat you. They come to eat beignets because you're the only W beignet that I ever made and got.
Oh, this is the best part. He doesn't like it.
What do you have to say about yourself? I asked for extra crispy. And you a little soft.
So I thought, all the cute media roaming around the city was going to be kind of the ceiling to it all. Oh, no. Oh, no. We wake up this morning. Chaos ensued last night. Nothing but wildness took place. So first, the evening kicks off with Jameis rekindling his love for purple drink.
Favorite drinks growing up was a purple grape-y-co. I used to go up the street in my hometown in Bessemer, Alabama to the corner store and pop me over a purple grape-y-co and give me some pickled pig feet. This is taking me back to those old days, but I'm sure Pirates was smacking on some pig feet back in the day. Just like pig feet, it rhymes with the Pirate Lafitte. And Pirate Lafitte got to be my cousin because this purple drink is dank.
And where does purple drink lead you? But he didn't want to just sing and have fun. He's got a journalistic instinct. So even with an evening of some drank, we got to get some interviews in too.
This door is a door I'm not allowed to go into because it is a women's bathroom, but I'm sure there's a lot of treasures in here. This is a 300-year-old door. Can you...
We all waiting for you. Come on out.
Hey, what happened?
I'm so sorry. I was just looking for a treasure.
I
Did you
was just
find a
looking for a
treasure in there?
I did. Go birds.
Can I-
Not this one. Go birds.
Is this bird a treasure?
Yes.
I don't think so.
And of course, this is where it all ends. This it all leads to.
Just giving out purple.
I just love Jameis out here having a blast. It's us having a blast.
My favorite part about this is that there is a reality where I could realistically see him doing this and being a preacher on the side.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Like you see videos of him and then this is again, now it's Sunday, right? Now it's Sunday. And say he's a preacher in New Orleans so that he does a morning preach before the Super Bowl after all of them saw videos of him last night giving out the purple drink. That is money making. Oh my God. That would give me faith in the Catholic Church.
I'd go to the Church of Winston.
Oh my goodness.
Would you not?
Oh, I'd be first in line.
Would you not?
Just like Yeezy's church, it'd be like the most sought after church. Goes to show how tapped in we all are.
I got to admit, Jameis's antics don't always hit with me personally. They don't always. I appreciate it's like kind of like Bill Walton in the NBA. He's since passed, but like kind of like that, like it doesn't fully hit for me. But I love his reach to people who are not huge in football. Yes. And I think he is so important for that. And he just seems like a good guy. Seems like a guy, like he seems like a normal person who, like, yeah, I made some mistakes as a kid, but now I'm an adult and I'm living my life and I'm having fun. And sure, the NFL hasn't worked out in the way he hasn't. And again, he's like an 8-year veteran. So I'm saying, oh, you've had a bad career in the NFL and you objectively have not. But you have such an awesome opportunity here, and it looks like he's loving it. Right. How could you not love that? Even if you're not the biggest Jameis fan, like he's engaging. Jameis Winston going up to a random guy. What do you think about this? It's gold. Right. I might not have a clue.
Whatever happens,
he doesn't even know who he is. You're gonna get gold.
Yes,
he struck gold with this one.
No, I agree. He's a fun aspect, and so there's so many people that are comparing this Browns season to the year we went winless, 0-16. And they're like, which one hurts more? And yeah, in many ways, this one does. But it's funny we say that, and yet I look back at this season, I go, for something that should have been like, it wasn't going to be a sour taste in our mouth. It was going to be like acid, poison, like burn, pain, death. This was going to be the worst. And someone like watching, all I care, when I'm not going to go anywhere with this season, not going to the playoffs, it's a dud season. If I can walk out beating the Ravens and beating the Steelers, I'm not as pissed as I could be, especially when we literally had our feet cut off and forced to run a marathon. So when I sit back and I go, we had such a bad season that we're pushing some of the greatest pillars our team has left out of the city. They want out desperately. Free Myles Garrett. At the same time, this was moderate. This was something that, like, I don't like it. I wasn't happy with it, but I can deal with it because, like, watching him in a snow game from a family that has never seen snow before beat the Steelers in a blizzard, man, that's the shit I sign up for when it comes to football fandom. So I feel you, but to me, he was the highlight to this season. And I truly appreciate, and then finally, even when he pittered off, we were done. Like, I was already done with football by then. When he was throwing, he wasn't throwing interceptions. They were dropping them. He was giving it to them. They were dropping them. So we still had faith in him. Then once they started catching him, and then and he's not our guy, we throw in DTR and it's like, all right, our season's over. It is what it is. But like, I don't feel as much pain as I did for the 0-16 season, because someone like this brought personality and just because again, I had an administration look me in the face and said, putting in the massagist who sucks, Deshaun Watson, is our best chance at winning. And we all knew that wasn't the case. So we cheered when he went out because we finally had a chance at winning. Yeah. And this guy with a ragtag group of Bad News Bears got us a couple. And he's so fun. I mean, the clips of him hyping the team up in the tunnel going out. This is the stuff that it's like, even if I'm going to have a Jaguars season, man, I think I had a lot more fun in 2024 than a Jaguars fan did. And our team was worse.
I couldn't disagree more. And like Jameis is the highlight of it.
So that point stands.
No, that's the one thing I agree with. I stand with that firmly. Funny enough, in the Deshaun Watson era, we needed two quarterbacks that we didn't expect to come in and save the season. Joe Flacco in terms of success, Jameis in terms of at least I don't hate the Browns as badly. I've had this thought for a while now, and it's, you know me, I've had the Baker bias. I've been very calm on it in recent years because our team made this decision. It is what it is. I was hopeful for it to be the right thing. Instant Miles requested a trade, which I 100% support. Personally, I thought we should have traded him earlier.
2 years ago or so.
At least after last year, because I was like, this isn't getting better, and you're going to get rid of Joe, and Deshaun's not it. I'm taking my victory lap on the Baker Mayfield thing. And my victory lap on the Baker Mayfield thing is simply this. You have Myles Garrett, who is the Hall of Fame player and leader of this franchise. And Jameis Winston is the guy who showed up and was doing the pregame speeches. At some point, Myles, I'm not taking any of his playing ability away. He's going to be a gold jacket player. First ballot. Still hoping he comes in as a Brown, and I think he still will. I do not view him as a leader. I view him as a great player and a workhorse guy. Same way I view Chubb. I view Chubb as in the same way. He's not much of a verbal leader.
Everybody loves him, though.
Everybody loves him because he's a workhorse. He doesn't say much. He just works, and his output is amazing. My issue simply with the Jameis thing isn't Jameis. It's I look at the leadership of the Browns, and I was like, this is what you resorted us to. You made promises to us 3 years ago after the Baker thing. And we're like, this is it. This is the move. We were in Super Bowl window. And Doug, Alex, I was like, I think this is a dumb move.
Dude, the change, though, as soon as they switched to Jameis Winston, our game became so much better. He threw more 300-plus games
Doug,
than
we
Deshaun
won 3
did
games.
in the years.
We won 3 games. Like, I'm sorry. Like, and you're right. We won 3 games.
No, but
we won 3
better.
games. Like, I'm not going to sit here and look at that as like, oh, it saved the year. We won 3 games. We're drafting 2. And sure, Jameis did.
No, I'm just saying over
Deshaun.
Deshaun. Like, Deshaun left, and we actually kind of started looking like a team again.
And we won 3 games. Like, I'm with you. We did. We won 3 games. I'm not going to ignore that just because we love Jameis. I love Jameis. But we won 3 games. That's what our organization is referred to. It's now resorted to afterwards. And I look at Myles Garrett, who now wants to leave. I'm like, your first year we went 0-16. Your last year here, what could be your last year here, he's still on us. We went 3-14, and I felt worse about that team than the 0-16 team. That's your legacy. That's where it ended up leaving. So like, and I don't like saying these things. I'm not like taking the Baker Mayfield, like I was right running, like I'm thrilled, I'm happy. It's like, no, I don't like this because my team is the one hurting at the end of it. You have Browns fans pissed off that Myles Garrett won on Super Bowl row and basically was like, yeah, I want out. It's like, before he did the Super Bowl row, you had Browns fans being like, give him what he wants, man. He deserves it. Now they're like, man, send him wherever. Piss on this, piss on that. It's like, this guy's given us everything.
Right.
What more can you want out of him on a 3-14 team?
But then he talked to the most hated person in Cleveland and said that helped him make his decision.
LeBron.
Well, that rubs everybody the wrong way.
And you know what? It's
you know what? As somebody who bolsters hating LeBron the most, it rubbed me the wrong way, and I still keep marching with, dude, this guy, upon draft, ripped a picture of Ben Roethlisberger, and he delivered on being a pain in the ass for Ben Roethlisberger. Exactly. That's all I wanted. That's what he did. And like you said, you nailed it. He's going to go to the Hall of Fame, and he will. Wherever he goes, let's say he goes to this next team and wins 2 Super Bowls in a row, whatever that team is, magical, I don't know.
It could be anyone. Yeah, right.
Let's just say it happens. He's still going to be a Browns.
Yes.
Like, no matter what he wants to do, it is what it is. And that's why it's like, I could be satisfied with this guy. He gave us all that he could, and it's time to move on. You know what you are owed? Because we live in an echo chamber within our fan group. You are owed the opportunity to take that Baker victory lap.
Right.
At the same time, it needs to come with the asterisk of Baker was never going to be this guy on our team. There was just too many faculties stacked against him. Conflict with the organization, maturing needed to happen. And the fact that we can have the concession of it, that maturation happened.
Because he had those tough times.
Tenfold a better player than he was. And he still was great. And we would all agree we would trade what we had right now for him 10 times over. Before even the maturation period, I would have we all, I think, with the perspective of time and the people that defended Deshaun will sit there and go, definitely, that was the failure. And we would have been 10, who knows where we'd be right now. At the same time, the only piece I want to season your whole point with, because it was strong and accurate, the only thing that I season it with is, dude, when we went 1-15, being at that game against the Chargers, that was like winning the Super Bowl. That's how pathetic it felt.
It was Christmas Eve, though. That made it feel even better.
Dude, it was a wonderful winter time cheering for one win.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, dude. I put myself back into the next year where we went 0-16, and I'm sitting alone in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania in law school, and I'll never forget the Packers game. I think it was around the same time as Christmas, if not Thanksgiving. It was another towards the end of the season game. Here's a team that went halfway through the playoffs, a dominant team that season. and we were kicking their ass and just let it fall through our fingers.
Mm-hmm.
And if I could go back to that person would have given anything for one win.
Yeah.
And that's the Packers. Dude, I'm leaving this season getting in a fight with an asshole in front of me in a Deshaun Watson jersey because I cheered when that dude went down. Not because I cheer for some gruesome pain of another, but the fact that I was being gaslit into being told this was the best thing for our situation. We all knew that was bullshit, and that was the pettiness of the billionaire up top telling us what to do, to feel vindicated going, see, told you those 3 games before it where he was our guy, we could have won, should have won. Those were our wins.
Yeah.
So 1, I get to feel that little bit of vindication. So what your 3 is could have been 6. I feel maybe even 5 or 4, still better than 0 following 1. And it was fun, dude. Again, this is a Buckeye that became a champion that lost the one game that mattered. You look at a Michigan fan that goes, we didn't even go in the playoffs. If I got to say there is a season where we don't win the playoffs, if I could get one thing, it'd be beating the Buckeyes. That's where I'm at right now. I'm nothing on the radar of the Steelers. I'm nothing on the radar of the Ravens, but we were a pain in your ass, and this guy was fun.
Listen,
this is better than 0-16, dude.
It's not.
That's my only argument.
It's not, and I can explain it this way. The expectations for this team was not 3-14, even with Deshaun. Now, we all viewed Deshaun, we view Deshaun as not that good. 0-16, I didn't expect us to win a game. No one was like, oh, this could be a competitive. We were all like praying for a win. We were praying to not go 0-16. That's all we were praying for. This team, at the start of the year, they were like, this could be a playoff team, 3-14. That's why I'm like, no. This is a complete. That was like during rebuild at 0-16. You're starting. Dorsey shows up. You're starting to get picks. Maybe the future will be bright. This is like the future's not bright. Next year, over under 7.5 wins. We're all hammering the under. That's why I'm like and I get it. This snow game, it is fun. It's good to win, but it's like this is a team I'm looking at and been like, we were in a Super Bowl window 3 years ago. This is what we're reduced to. When we went 1-15 and 0-16. It's like, yeah, we suck. We know we suck. We're just praying we get a win. That's why I'm like, listen, I get it. We could love the victories we have. There was only 3 of them and we could love them. But I'm looking at this as like an organization that has failed on every level of being in a Super Bowl window. Whereas the 1-15, the 0-16 team, it's like no one was expecting anything. We were throwing Cody Kessler and Deshaun Kaiser out there. Like no one's like, oh, this is a competitive team. We all knew the deal. Corey Coleman catches that ball, and all of a sudden you might get 1 win in that season. You didn't.
Oh,
Corey Coleman, man.
This was a season where it was like you have the $230 million man. You gave up all these assets for it. Like you said, we're being gaslit in. And I'm like, we should have been so much happier. And I've just seen this bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. And I was the one that when I was like, we made the first bad decision, I was like, that's a bad move. And everyone looked at me like, you're an idiot. And then for 3 years, I just bit my tongue and I'm just like, all right, like, hey, it's my team still. I'm rolling with the punches. We're now to this point. And it's like when it comes back to the Baker thing. Yeah, sure, he could have used a little bit more maturity, but I don't agree with he wouldn't have been as good of a player. And here's the reason why.
No one said that. He would have been better than Deshaun.
No. It's not better than Deshaun. I'm saying he's gotten better as a player since he's left.
Sure.
So my thing is people are like, oh, he wouldn't have gotten better if he stayed here. It's like, is that a coaching thing?
Yeah,
that sounds like a coaching thing.
It is.
And then we stuck with the coach. So that's what, but like I let the conversation sit for a few years. I'm like,
which you should because it's true.
Yeah, but it's like, it's true, but it's like 4 years ago, people looked at me and are like, well, you can't get rid of the coach. And it's like, okay, sure. We don't know what Baker's going to do. And I believe Baker would turn into the player he is now. Now he has. And that's why I look back. It's like, and we're still sticking with Stefanski? Like, how much longer am I going to have to hear, oh, he's a good coach? And it's like, name another quarterback. The Joe Flacco thing was a fluke. The Jameis Winston, it's like he's won 3 games, and they were great. But it's like, at what point are we as an organization, burn it all down? The instant Miles said, I want traded, Barry fired, Stefanski fired. Should have happened immediately. Now I get to look at people and be like, yeah, in week 10 to 12 next year, they'll all be fired because Shedeur, and this isn't a knock on Shedeur because you're probably drafting him too. I just don't see him fixing this. And I'm not going to hold that against the kid because I'm looking at this organization and this team and be like, you're screwed. Like, like his dad came out and he's like, oh, they have my blessing, which I thought was a weird way of saying it. Like, oh, we have your blessing to draft your son. We're a professional organization and you gave us the blessing to draft your kid. Like, no, dude, if we're drafting you, we're drafting you.
Right.
Like, I'm sorry. That's not how this works, Dion. You should know better than anybody. Beside the point, I'm not going to look at Shadur and be like, he's going to fix this. I'm going to look at this kid and be like, we have a horrible offensive line. We have veterans that want off of this team. We have an organization that I don't think has a single football guy in it, including the head coach. I mean, just look at his passionate speeches he gives. They're up there with Myles Garrett's pregame speech. Oh, wait, he doesn't do that. That's right. I forgot. We have Jameis doing it, Mr. Crab Legs, and we all love his speeches because we never know what's going to come out of his mouth, and it's magical. But that's what this team's been resorted to.
Right.
The 0-16, I could look at and be like, we all knew it was going to be a failure. We were just praying for a win. This is a team where it was like the last 3 years I've heard Cleveland might be a playoff team come November. And it's like we're out of it because we're being gaslit by this organization. No, this is a complete collapse, to my opinion, of this organization. And until the two, because you can't fire Haslam, because as Doug reminded us, we cannot just oust an owner as a city. But until the owner, DePodesta and Stefanski are fired, like, I'm sorry, I do not think Kevin Stefanski's that good of a coach. I don't think he's dog shit by any means, but I'm not sitting here going
he's
like,
not a Super Bowl coach.
Like he's not Kyle Shanahan.
I agree.
Kyle Shanahan's Brock Purdy.
He's not Gruden.
Will, you mentioned not being able to fire Haslam. Well, part of the Modell law does say if a team wants to move, they have to force to sell. So that's what the city is trying to get happen, is force him to sell in order to keep the team downtown. Doubt that's going to stick because there's so many things with that it's like you can't really force a private ownership, blah, blah, blah. But that is our best hope to get rid of Haslam. Right there.
It's just a hope pipe dream, and that's the unfortunate truth. So it's like when I look at, and I get it, the 0-16 thing, it sucked, but it's like this is a team where there was a window there. And you like, I was years ago, and you too, like you weren't even high on Deshaun back then either. You wanted to move on from Baker, and it's like, I understood why people did. Like, I'm not sitting here being like, they're all dumb for wanting to. I totally got it. But it was such a desperate thing. And you saw the writing on the wall then, to where now it's like, oh, well, he wouldn't have been like this if he stayed here. It's like, yeah, because of the people here.
Right.
And no one was saying it for years. And then you and I for years have been like, Stefanski, bad. And everyone's like, you're an idiot. And it's like, quit acting like this man is Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, Matt LaFleur. He's not. And that's fine. But the fact that no one's been fired because of the Deshaun Watson debacle. Still, nobody's been fired. They're all employed.
Yep.
These people have jobs still. No one's been like, oh, you screwed up. No. You got a job still, buddy. Worst trade in NFL history. Everyone says that. And you have a job, my friend. My God, you have health insurance too.
Right.
It's too bad. It's an unfortunate thing. And it's like, I don't like saying these things like, oh, this is my victory lap. And I'm sitting here, I'm pissed about this team still. Like, that's where we're at. It's the unfortunate thing. And it's like, the funny thing would be if Miles got traded to Tampa Bay. That would be kind of funny.
Yeah.
There would be like the football guy would be like, ha. And everybody in Cleveland would be like, oh my God. And
I'd love to just feel the tension in that first day in the locker room.
You want to know what the tension would be like? They'd show up and Miles would be like, oh, well, here's what I think. They'd be like, I don't care. Baker's team.
Yeah.
And it'd be like, oh, you went from the old one to this one. What I will say, though, on Myles Garrett, and you and I have had these conversations too. Love Myles. You have had a lot of input in the front office decisions, and a lot of them went poorly. And I'm not going to really drill into them.
He's also part owner of the Cavs, too.
Okay.
Just throwing that out there.
He is. But regarding the Browns, it's like he wanted Odell. He wanted Baker out. He advocated for Deshaun. There are things there where it's like, hey, man, you had a say in this organization. And
Fair point.
But I don't have an issue with you wanting traded. You see the writing on the wall. We all see the writing on the wall. But it's like you had more say. And this city, we backed you on so many things. The Mason Rudolph incident. You flipping your car twice. We didn't ask questions. We just were like, that's our guy. We love him. I remember Baker was the one on TV who said yeah, you can't do that. And everyone was like, how dare you say something against it? We really rallied around Myles. So there is, again, I don't view Myles necessarily as a leader. I view him as a phenomenal Hall of Fame player, a talent that you just can't duplicate. But it's like Jameis Winston shows up and he's given the speeches pregame. Ray Lewis was given the speeches pregame. He's a Hall of Fame defensive player. I didn't see that from Miles. Never saw that from Miles. And I didn't expect that from Miles. It wasn't like I need you to do that. But when I know like the input you had in this organization, knowing the leader you were, like and to top it all off, in the last year, you looked at us, the fans, and said that is a mostly good person.
Yeah.
That was your last line of defense. You went after us, and we've only defended you. So no, I don't have any ill will in him wanting to leave. I understand why he wants to leave. But I also understand why Browns fans are like pissed and be like, no, trade him someone that sucks.
Oh, we should do that.
Because of all these things. It's like, get your assets.
Oh, it's funny you say that because literally this morning he was getting quoted saying they asked him about the Titans because the Titans have indicated to the Browns that they have interest in wanting him. He goes, for what? Y'all haven't built anything. For that, I'll stay where I'm at. No, you won't. No. Here's what's funny. With the groundwork you've laid, your only thing is out.
Yeah.
You've that bridge is burned. You've crossed over. There's no coming back.
And here's the thing. It's like when Baker requested his trade is because they publicly were like, we made a play for Deshaun. And then Baker was like, hey, if you really want him, all right, I want traded. With Miles, it's simply the team's not good and you want out. I can understand that. Like, I'm not like against that, but it's like then for you to be like, oh, no, I'm not going to a bad team. It's like, dude, you don't get the choice.
Yeah, this is a business.
Like, do you think Baker was like, yeah, Carolina? No, he wasn't thinking, yeah, Carolina, but it wasn't his choice. And he heard what our choice was. And he was like, sure, I want to go. If that's where you're at, then I want to go too. All right. I can understand both sides. And with Miles, I get it too. But then to be like, no, I'm going to veto the trade. It's like, dude, you don't have that in your contract.
Yeah.
Like you should have kept your mouth shut on Super Bowl row. You should have been like, man, I loved it in Cleveland. I loved it in Cleveland. Just maybe, I don't know, maybe I feel like my time's kind of hit that point.
Yeah.
You know, because if you did all this ploy just to get a bigger contract, you're an asshole.
Yeah.
Like you're just a douchebag. Like, come on. As if Cleveland wouldn't want to pay you. Like,
you just don't have the money because of terrible decisions.
And he had Minor saying it. Now he didn't give him $230 million and 3 first-round picks. I'm sure he didn't say that, but it's like
you supported it.
You supported it, and I get why people supported it at the time. So I'm not doing like the victory on that aspect, but it's just like Miles, come on, man. We really rallied around you, man, and you and like you said, he will go in as a Brown, and we'll be thrilled to have him do it. You know, but it's like, don't leave a bitter taste in our mouths because it's like my lasting impressions of you in the recent years are like kind of have a smug attitude towards you, and you really like you will be quick to point at the fans and be like, you're the problem. And it's like, buddy, this team was here before you. This team will be here long after you. I don't care what our record is. Like, it's not going to sway us.
No, I can appreciate that point. I kind of forgot about how much he has lashed out at the fans, and it's like you're nothing without the fans, dude. So kind of figure out that delicate balance. But we did get lost on the Miles train, way off from your main point. No,
yeah,
which is about the 0-16 season versus this year. If the whole position, because again, I think it's got to fit this Baker narrative, but I think if the whole position is there was no hope in the 0-16 season, there was no hope this season either. If your whole position is in agreement that we were gaslit into being told we had hope where we didn't, then that means there's an acknowledgement that we didn't have hope. This season was bottomed out from its start. And so if the deciding factor is a season where we should, or at least had the hope of going to the Super Bowl, and we fumbled that, the worst season then isn't even one we're talking about. It's not the 0-16 season, and it wasn't this recent season we just experienced. It was the first season with Deshaun, where he doesn't even play because he's suspended and everything else. So that should have been the season because we had no hope we had hope, and the hope was ripped from us because we're playing a guy that is suspended.
Well, the hope was he'd come back and he would be what he was in Houston.
So then we get a flavor of it last year. And last year, you and I are both looking at each other going, again, we're being gaslit. Everybody's telling us he's something isn't.
He did play in a few games his first year,
right?
But he missed like 11 games.
Yes,
something like that. So we saw like a small sample. And then he played the second year, and then he got hurt.
And
that was the Flacco year.
And you and I both would agree we were very unimpressed last year. So
I was unimpressed from the start. I was like, this is
so now you're going into this season. Where are you lying to yourself, convincing yourself you had any hope for a postseason, let alone a Super Bowl. This was a hopeless season. We both knew it. We both knew that you are going to, again, if gaslighting is the acknowledgement that he isn't it, but we're going into a season where you are going to forcefully tell me he is it. We're going into a season with no hope. This is the same as the 0-16, but there were literally like 8 games where we lost in overtime by a field goal, by missing 2 field goals. Half of it was defeating ourselves. It was equally as frustrating because it started in the administration, top down. We had coaching that was interchanged like twice, if not 3 times throughout that season. We had an administration that couldn't figure out who we wanted to have as quarterback, and whichever we decided was an absolute dud, and yet we still we're scraping something. Dude, this kid from California who Myles Garrett comes into this team.
He's from Texas.
And is dominate, but he came from USC.
No, he came from like some SEC school, but it wasn't USC.
Yeah, it was SEC. I know.
I think it was Ole Miss.
Yeah, or was it A&M?
Or you're right. It was A&M. You were correct.
A&M.
You're correct.
Yep.
Yeah. So
he's a Texas kid. I know that.
Yeah, and he grew up in Texas. So here comes this Texas kid and breathes a whole new life of hope into us. While we're losing, he is getting sacks galore and absolutely raising hell.
Right.
So I think there was just as much. There was more hope then because you're seeing a change. Then we're getting Kareem Hunt. Now we've got this new young quarterback that's come in. Like, there was only up. I want to rewind the clock to the first year of Deshaun. 11 games, couple at the end. You're looking at me going, one, we both have our doubts. We both see this for what it is. And you said, if this fails and this is an absolute dud and we we literally crippled ourselves a $300 million deficit, that you said that day 3 years ago. You're looking at a 10-year rebuild. We are in the hole for at least 10 years. So when I'm 3 years into the hole, because
we didn't know.
I'm not Elliot. I'm not our other friends. I swallowed that pill upon inception, internalized it.
Yes.
So I can't be day one going 10 years from now, we're in the hole for 10 years, and then be 3 years into that 10-year period and go, oh, shit, I'm shocked. I'm like, no, I knew this was it, and I'm just happy I beat the Steelers and the Ravens, and we got this silly crab-eating, fun guy that's making it interesting.
Listen, I hear you, and I think majority Browns fans would probably agree with me, though. I think they would view this 3-14 as like a big, just because of knowing everything that went into this.
That's what they're saying.
Just knowing everything that went into this, and like I could appreciate your stance.
But
more.
what went into this? That's what I mean.
$230 million, $230 million, 3 first-round draft picks, and you had
that was committed 3 years ago.
But you're still dealing with the fallout,
right?
But the fallout was the expectation. For the next 5 years, how long we signed him, we're going to be a Super Bowl contending team, and we're the furthest from that. That's why it's like, how hard is this pill to bite? It's like, yeah, it felt like you said it last time we were on the show. Baker had us, one play away from being in the AFC Championship game?
Right.
And now we're to this point. It's just an unfortunate, like, you can look at 0-16 and sure, yeah, the hope was started to build, but it's like, you didn't know who the next guy was going to be drafted. Like, we didn't know Baker was going to work. And then Baker kind of worked, and we were like, oh, there's something here. This 3-14 is like, I've watched the team make management decisions to where every year people were talking like, yeah, they could be a contending team. And it's the complete opposite. And it's just getting worse. And sure, I saw it immediately. I was like, this guy, he releases the ball slower. I don't think he's reading defenses. I don't think he's put much work into this, and he looks slower. And it's like, everyone was like, oh, it's rust. And it's like, this is a professional athlete. This isn't a kid who got hurt in college and is now getting used to the speed of the NFL. It's like, this guy's been here, done that.
And then it's 2 summers of vacation.
And then it's
so I'm not like, again, I already knew that we signed up for the $300 million.
But we didn't know he would be what he was. We assumed. Mine was an assumption. Mine was simply, I saw the 5 games and I was like, I don't see him jumping up next year. But like most Browns fandom, and Doug, I will be honest, I'm throwing you in this. I believe you thought Deshaun after the first 5 games would play a little bit better.
I hoped.
There was
I
more hope.
hoped.
And I've seen and watched enough ball, and I've seen enough like athletes like take extended time off. I remember the Le'Veon Bell thing. He wanted to sit out for more money at Pittsburgh, and then he got like 3 years, $60 million deal after sitting out a year and went to the Jets. He was never quite the same. And it's like, you don't like get better when you're not playing. Like there's a reason these guys want to be out there. So when I saw those 5 games, I was like, this is and not only that, but he was like supposed to be like lethal accurate. And I'm like, he's throwing balls like short, high, left, right. And it's like, these are routine throws.
Right.
Like this is concerning. But Browns, like they were like, no, we got this, dog. And it's like, oh, I saw that. And I was like, oh, this is going to be bad.
Right.
Like, this is going to be, if anything, Deshaun was worse than I thought he'd be. I didn't think
so much worse.
I didn't think he'd be this bad. Like I thought,
no one did.
And then
that's what I mean.
I get nobody did, but I felt like immediately I saw it. I was like, oh, this is going to be bad. Like this.
So
is going
again,
to be
if you immediately thought that 3 years later, it's not a
Alex,
surprise.
You're taking that just off of me, not Browns as a whole. Browns
but
as a
we're
whole.
not talking about the Browns.
What are we talking about then? Just one man or the team?
You, me, our opinion. Your opinion is that this season was worse than the 0-16 season.
We got way off Super Bowl talk.
I know, because this is, yes, and it's not even worth it. So we're done. I can appreciate your position on it. I don't want to get lost in a Deshaun or Miles talk again. I hear you. But so much of our position is a concession that we agree that 3 years ago, we kind of knew what we were signing up for. And we don't need to draw upon what any media or any other opinion said. That was what we both agreed upon. So then we can't also play a surprise because other people were surprised. You weren't surprised. I wasn't surprised. I hear you. This season sucked. But as someone that was rooting for the Browns when I was 5, 10, 15, 30, beating the Steelers and the Ravens has always been number one because through 30 years, I've only been in the playoffs now, 3 times? For the longest 2/3 of it, it was once. And I couldn't even barely remember that one time. So those are top tier. That's our Super Bowl seasons. Your guy gave us our Super Bowl seasons. And I've also been never wavering, dying with a Browns peddler in misery when we're 0-16 and 1-15. And to me, beating the Steelers and the Ravens tops all. But I agree with you. We could belabor the point forever about the wasted money, the pain that comes with it. But also, when you look at an 0-16 season, nobody took $250 million out of what they had to work with and threw it in the trash, which is definitely what you and I knew what we were signing up for in July. In July, we knew we were looking at a roster that was crippled by $200 million at least, not what they were experiencing in 0-16 when they couldn't even beat the Packers in overtime. Just once, just squeeze out a little bit that lets us go home like, hey, not a bad Sunday, because every Sunday in pain is misery. But I don't want to have the last word, so I'll give you at least an opportunity. But I wanted to keep us grounded in it's what we're talking about is the 0-16 season versus this year. I think this year sucked. It surely is not the worst season I've personally experienced. And I can appreciate somebody that would say it was their worst season they've ever experienced.
I would just say, like, in terms of expectations, like that's really what my point has always been, is like expectations for the 0-16 team. The expectation was praying to win a single game.
Yeah, that's a really low expectation.
The expectations for these Deshaun years, but specifically this year, was, we're hoping this team competes for the division.
Right.
We were that far off.
And I guess to put it in a metaphor, if I'm comparing 2 seasons and one season is begging for a crumb and the other season is that I'm full and I just didn't quite get to go to the buffet, I'm satisfied because I've lived the life where all I want is a crumb.
Hey, listen, I get it. But I view these 3 wins as just shit. Should have lost them. Get the number 1 pick.
I agree.
That's the
unfortunately
headache.
So keeping us grounded with the Super Bowl theme, one last thing here to have some folly and fun to kick off our big old Sunday Super Bowl weekend. Here are some of the funniest, or at least just most wild Super Bowl bloopers.
Here's Brunt has a fumble in this game, driving the pile close to the 15. Stop Neal.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
How about this? Helmets are stuck. It's snapped over the head.
God, that was like first play of the game. I remember.
Yes, it was. Literally.
That was a long day for Peyton Manning. That's one of the worst Super Bowls I can remember.
Started the game. This is the one. Nick Foles caught his. Tommy.
It's funny too. Oh man, I hope they have Pittsburgh's when we played them. That was like the same as the Manning one. That was like first.
Well, these
play.
are Super
Super
Bowl.
Bowl. Excuse me. Yeah.
We'll never have any clips of this.
Yeah.
Oof. That one actually wasn't that bad.
As Haran couldn't handle it, he's the punter. He came along.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I was
He
waiting
got
for
one
the kick.
job.
There's block. Yepremian has it. Throws a pass up with the ball.
That's a long time ago.
He's running away for a touchdown.
Yeah. We got footage from Super Bowl 4.
Oh no, blur it. It's got a Redskin on the helmet.
So Carolina settled for a field goal to
Yep,
get it within
Cam
6,
Newton.
and then this is the play that sealed it for Denver.
There we go.
Another strip
You
by
know
Von
what?
Miller. TJ Ward recovers.
Great play by Von Miller, and I'm a little bit
What a
confused.
dick.
So ain't nobody gonna
I
say that.
thought I had all the clips prepared for today, but I just realized I forgot one big one that came from the last 2 weeks. Can you believe Cam Newton was on like ESPN or whatever, and
That's what I
he
thought.
literally said, they asked him, would you trade your MVP award for a Super Bowl win? And he said no.
Yeah.
And when I brought it up to my dad's like, he got lost in the weeds with the Hall of Fame. He's like, but I would give it anything trumps. There's people that have been in the Hall of Fame that haven't won the Super Bowl. I would pick the Hall of Fame. I go, but that's not the point. The point is, would you rather have an MVP or a Super Bowl win? Would you rather be a champion or a narcissist? At least that's what it says to me.
Did you see Antonio Brown comment on it?
What?
He like quoted it and said, he's like, of course he picked MVP. He couldn't even fall on a fumble. So whenever I see that clip now, I just think, I was like, yeah, he's right. Like Cam had every opportunity to jump on that ball and didn't. Like if that ball is like literally sitting right there, he just like didn't fall.
And that's the truth. There's people like we could talk about. I don't know. Pick it. I'm trying to think of one of our quarterbacks, but there's not one worth talking about.
What are you talking about? There's like 40 on one jersey.
But I just when I think of like what they experienced, you at least made it to the game.
Oh right, you're in the business.
You there's your moment.
Yep.
Like the Tom one, you dropped the ball. There's your moment. You didn't jump on the fumble, Cam. Like this one game boils down to a moment.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing with that moment?
Yeah.
And the Chiefs don't fumble those moments.
And
that's why they win.
The funny part, you mentioned Tom's. It's like in that game, he still threw for like 550 yards,
which is crazy.
You know, like he still holds the record for most passing yards, but it was a loss. But it's like in Cam's, it's like you guys got boat raced in that game, and like you just like stared at a fumble on the ground. And I'm like, wow. So then when he made that comment, I did think to myself, I was like, oh, you're kind of a douche. Like,
oh no, you just showed. Yeah, not kind of. You showed us.
Like that's an
Thank you
Aaron
for
Rodgers.
confirming.
That's an Aaron Rodgers comment right there.
Yes.
Like that's entirely.
Yes.
Tom Brady literally is to the point. Speaking of like his Super Bowl losses, when they were undefeated and lost in the Super Bowl, he's like, I'd trade 2 of my rings just for that one Super Bowl. Not even an MVP, like just so they would have been the first undefeated team to win a Super Bowl. He's like, I'd give away 2 of my rings for that one. And it's like, yeah, that's how pissed off he was about that one. And Cam Newton's like, haha, best player in football.
Doug, what do you got for us?
Dude, while Will was ranting on, I was looking at the picture you put up. So many back-to-backs, and it is insane that we don't see 3. Like Kansas City back-to-back there if you include 23. Insane,
or like look at the Cowboys right there.
Yeah.
2 in a row,
Yeah.
then San Francisco, then they win it again.
Yeah, so many 2 in a rows actually that I didn't even think about. I mean, so many, but 3. That's the elusive one, which is crazy going into this.
But you got to think you would say most teams with the Super Bowl window, it's probably anywhere from 3 to 5 years.
Right.
That's about as good. Like, and that's like what? Like a rookie contract. You're hoping
Yeah.
to get like a good young kid or something like that. So you can definitely see it. It's like you pointed out the Dallas one, like that was Aikman. Like that was Aikman's run. And it's like, I don't think they played in that Super Bowl that they lost, though. I don't think they made it.
No,
they definitely didn't make it. San Francisco.
So again, history's potentially going to be made today, and it could also be overshadowed by Taylor Swift getting proposed to. Who knows? But one of the last, icings to the cake on today's episode. Each week we do our parlay pick of the week, and if by some chance we don't hit, the person that missed their parlay pick has to take an ice, and our buddy Wilbur missed. So here's our parlay pick this week. I hit with Saquon last week, or 2 weeks ago, so I'm sticking with it. Doug's going with Kareem Hunt, 40-plus rushing yards. And Will, I think, is really well set. I can't believe how the odds were in our favor with that one, with Dallas Goedert getting 50-plus receiving yards. So this is going to be our parlay pick of the week. If you want to join in and get some cash for this Super Bowl Sunday as we have some fun. But like we said, losers got to lose. And Will didn't hit his parlay pick, so he's got to hit an ice.
The goddamn Bills.
That's right. They let you down, so Will's got to take a
You
shot.
mentioned it before I do this. You mentioned it too. It's like we always look at the Bills as like they got to be the savior, and it's like, what a disappointment you are.
You couldn't save me this time.
I'm hearing a lot of talking and not enough chugging.
Oh my god. See, the
Where
days.
is the Doug button?
Yeah,
Where is the
that's
Doug
about to
button?
say. The worst days are when Doug doesn't lose. Yeah, I would. That's a well-paid punishment.
I mean, me and Alex had a lot of experience with this.
For how many people?
Will,
How many times
you're a little slow?
As many times they've had a front row seat to my demise. It's refreshing to be on this end of it for once. You know, Will's get to proudly announce that he hasn't had as much practice if I had this season.
You know what's fucked up? It's like it's like I noticed you doing it in recent weeks. Like I can tell. I immediately I'm telling myself in my head, like, open up the airway, don't breathe. You know, like don't try and take many breaths. And immediately I'm like, and then like I noticed by like the third week you were doing it, it was just like a nozzle going down. And I'm like, yeah, that's what you need to do that right now, dude. You know, it's like the complete opposite.
We're gonna need to get you a snorkel while you do it.
Yeah, like let's just bong this thing. It's like Jesus Christ. It's like you get like then when you start breathing,
Oh,
like,
we
it's, like,
should
it kinda,
get
like,
one of
goes out the
those.
side of your mouth. You're like, no, don't spill. Don't be that guy.
You did well. I gotta hand it to you.
I almost, well, you know what? I'm glad I stuck by that bet though. I'm glad I stuck by the Bills because that was the only one we all wanted to see win, and they failed like they do every time. Sorry, Latch.
That's what they do.
Yeah,
that's what they do.
Yeah.
They lose on us.
Can't win an AFC Championship game or a Super Bowl.
So we have one last little piece of competition in the studio for us today.
About this.
Yeah, exactly. So there is a tie. Each week so far in the postseason, we have been predicting our wins, who we think is going to win. The person that was in last is going to have to chug an extra ice. So there's still a parlay pick in game this week. So if you miss, you got to drink. We got one last episode of the Sunday Football Review that's going to review tonight's game.
Yeah.
So you could potentially drink because your parlay didn't hit. Then even more so, someone amongst the three of us is hitting, and it will be the furthest from the score because now we got a tiebreaker. I was winning 2 right predictions or over you guys. I had 2 scores over you guys. Doug had 1 behind me. Will was following that. So after this last week, I went with my heart and not, with logic. One, to keep it interesting, but I really wanted to see the Commanders and Bills. I know.
Everybody wanted to see anything but what it is today.
So I gave away first place for a beautiful tie. Now the three of us are in a tie, and we got to pick the scores, our predictions going into this week.
Wait,
so
we're doing the scores, or like we're doing the
well, because we're all picking the Chiefs, right? You want to pick the Eagles?
I'm not doing an ice, fucker.
So
someone's doing.
So
an
we're
ice.
all picking the Chiefs, right?
Doug, who are you taking?
I'm gonna abstain.
You have to pick.
No, I don't, because you didn't ask what we're all picking. You're just assuming. So until we actually each decide we want to pick a pick,
Okay,
I'm not giving it up.
All
I
right.
learned last week.
My choice is the Chiefs. What's your choice?
I'm gonna go with the Chiefs.
Doug, your choice.
I mean, let's be honest. The Chiefs are probably winning.
Oh my God, you are.
I'm taking the Eagles then. Screw him. I hate
All right,
that.
then I want to
Someone's
switch to the Eagles then. See, that's the problem. That's why we're
Thank you.
picking score, Will. So let him continue.
Wait, so you're going to be the Eagles? So Doug's the Eagles, Will's the Eagles, I'm the Chiefs.
No, I'm saying Chiefs. I'm going with my original, but I want someone to drink.
Yeah, that's why we're doing the score here.
But I thought
Will.
he said Chiefs at first. You said
Will,
Chiefs
just
at
let
first.
him finish.
Doug, this is all your fault, and this is why you're the worst. Please pick your prediction score for the game.
My score?
Just who's winning.
Pick the score for both teams.
Or who's winning?
All right. What I truthfully think it's going to be, I think it's going to be like Kansas City 33, Philadelphia 30.
Okay, Doug, yours.
I'll go 30 Chiefs, 27 Eagles.
Okay, and then I am going to go. Notice it's all the Chiefs again, guys. We're just running around in circles. I'm going to go with Kansas City gets 34, and I'm going to go with Philadelphia getting 28. Perfect.
But that's why I said Eagles then, because I didn't know we were doing score. Like I didn't know we were doing.
Well,
like the
that's
score
a
of the game.
tiebreaker.
I didn't.
We're
know.
going to have to do it anyway if we have two people doing the same thing.
I
We
know.
need one person isolated from the group.
I didn't know that.
All right, guys, thank you so much for your time. As we showed you, there's the parlay picks of the week. There's the Super Bowls coming up. I hope you've got a lot of food on the menu. You're buckled up for an exciting time. There will be a loser next week, so tune in next week so you can see who it is. And again,
I noticed you guys all put your scores around mine. You guys are assholes for that.
well, I learned from the last time I got.
I was like, I
got
went
romped with
first.
The
And then
Buckeyes won
30 to 27, 34 to 28. Sick.
Well,
I'm right in the middle.
As we land this plane and send you off on your exciting Super Bowl Sunday, I can't leave a review like this without just emphasizing and reviewing the most important piece of football information to come away from this. And it's do not forget who is the champion.
2nd and 5, play fake. Howard flips it. Smith's got it.
Get yourself off, Doug. There you go. Good job.
Still like play from Alabama.
Peace. We end every episode off with a we go live every week. Catch you next week. And I just love this view. This is such a beautiful view.
It's a great view.
So again, catch you next week. Peace.